So, just a quick reminder, the Archipelago increased difficulty settings only has until the end of this upcoming It Takes Two run to be met, as those runners need to plant those YAMLs in the ground and let them reach maturity in order for them to be usable. So, they are currently sitting at $90 out of 200. So, just $110 more will get that one up and going. All right, folks. We are coming up on ready time for It Takes Two 100% run by Daemonweave and Argros.
Good morning, Multithon. Happy to be here, excited to show off this wonderful game, and I'm assure you we are 100% ready to showcase this fantastic game to you. Yes, there goes the first bad joke out of the way, but I'd like to take the time to introduce our runners today, and we'll get right into it because we got a lot to showcase this game, the longest category in this game, and congratulations to everybody that came together to hit the incentive to upgrade this from inbounds. Really excited to be a part of this and happy to see the incentive be met, especially for the first time this marathon going on. So coming up first, we have our May runner. It's going to be Argros.
Hello.
And running Cody today will be Daemonweave.
Hello.
And my co-commentator is the lovely Lemura.
Hello.
And I am Papa Jan. So I think David and Argros, I believe you two are ready, and I think time's going to start as soon as they reset room chapter at the very beginning of the game. Is that correct?
Indeed, but before that, Reggie, I need to know what language did win the bid war?
No worries at all. Yeah, they did a huge update recently, adding all these different extra languages of the game, which has been fantastic, especially to see just the dedication from Hazelight to continue increasing the accessibility of this already wonderful game. I always
Hey
played this
y'all.
game through on English, but it was I've
Just
very
jumping
much
in real quick
enjoyed.
because Reggie muted for a sec. Just needed to handle something. But I have the results of that poll, so I figured I'd just come tell you.
Ooh.
A strong showing from English with $40, but German just eked it out at the end with 50.
Ooh.
Gonna be playing in German.
Okay, so nothing special for
Nice.
me. I'm playing in German my entire time anyways.
Which is
Okay,
great.
yeah.
So
Time
now
will
we get to
start
see
as
all the
soon as
fantastic German names of the bosses.
Indeed. Yeah, time will start as soon as I press enter on this chapter select. So if anybody wants to give me a countdown, Jan.
Sure. So time starts in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, welcome into this wonderful game. We'll have a chance to explain some lore as we go along, and so there'll be some minor spoilers as we go through the game to do with the story. So just be wary of that if you haven't had the chance to pick it up yet. Which is hard to believe that somebody hadn't, because I think they just sold over 10 million copies recently. So congratulations to Hazelight for doing that. But as far as the speedrun of this game goes, it's going to be very, very hectic and very, very jam-packed for probably like the first solid like 10 minutes. And they get the first glitch to go, so fantastic. This first stage of the game is usually a bit of a tutorial where all those fuses go everywhere, and you have to go and collect them, and it teaches about the movement and how to kind of get around the world. But if we grab that fuse, put it down, pick it back up, and reset from checkpoint, it can allow us to kind of launch into the air and use it for multiple of the different fuse slots. So we're able to get out of there early, and then we're already done with Wake Up Call, which can be a little bit finicky. And so we actually have some Discord emotes relevant to that chapter because, man, sometimes that glitch can be a little bit troublesome to start out the game. But Lem, would you like to kind of talk to us about what is 100%? What differentiates it between these other major categories of inbounds and 80% in ITT?
So 100% in It Takes Two, I feel like it's kind of unique compared to other 100% runs as well, because usually it just goes by like either collectibles or that kind of stuff. But in this game, we're also collecting every single obtainable checkpoint throughout the entire game, and so we have like a full list of that, and we know where all of them are. And one of the things about the checkpoints themselves is that some you only need the one player to hit, some you need both of them to hit, and others are just unique. Compared to the other categories, 90% and inbounds, you'll see a lot of similarities between inbounds and 100% throughout this run. But we're not limited to just being inbounds here, which I think is super exciting. I definitely had a ton of fun like routing for Hondo and stuff. So.
We saw a quick example there about some of the ways that this game does keep characters in check and keep them close together, of when Cody and Argros there got into that initial little area that had the vacuum. They had to wait for Argros to catch up to a certain point. And so I think, Lem, you're saying like some of the checkpoints in this game require a specific character to be there. Sometimes it's both people to be there, right? Like there's different ways that this game kind of treats them.
Yeah, like there's been multiple right now where both of them had needed to hit them. But coming up, there's this one on the other side here where only one person needs to hit it because you hit like both of the sides.
Oh, and both of these players are already going fantastic with the movement early on. You'll see the slide jumps that they're doing there as May just clears that huge gap. One thing in this game, as we'll go across, do we get the CP? Let's go. Man, lots to talk about already. So I'll save the slide jump for now. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But what we just saw there was an example of an RCP and an FPS strat. So in this game, you can get to checkpoints. You'll see Dr. Hakeem, the little book of love, and a little loading sign show up in the top or the bottom right corner. That's an indication that you've hit one of those checkpoints. Some not a guarantee. Sometimes they don't necessarily show up there. However, if you hit one and you reset from checkpoint, there's often a common spot that it'll put Mei and Cody so it can like catch up the map and bring characters back together. So the ability for one player to maybe be a little bit faster than the other and catch everybody up, because there's a lot of sections in this game where it requires both players to get somewhere, but sometimes it could be a friendly race from your partner of who can get somewhere first to get to the checkpoint and then reset to get you both there and you can keep going. And then in the FPS strat sense, sometimes in this game, there's weird interactions that happen faster on low FPS. And so you typically play this game locked at 120 or whatever the comp can get it up to 120, but it capped at 120. But then if you drop it low to 30, especially this here, the interaction of putting those vacuum cleaner's arms up to his eyeballs to cause the explosion, it happens a lot quicker on 30 FPS. And so just an opportunity there. We'll see it a couple of times throughout the run, really just at the beginning and one closer to the end. But then right away, they're going back up to that crispy 120%. And then just more examples of the conservation of momentum in the slide jump. So in this game, we found very early on as well, too, that if your character is running and you initiate a slide, as you see another one there, you can jump out of that slide and it gives you the forward momentum. And then you also jump a little bit higher. Plus you get your double jump out of it. Oh my gosh, they snipe it right away. Can they get the tough jump across? They do. Can Demon follow it up as well? Yes. And yeah, another example here of the players have to get together to open up these doors. But the slide jumps, man, we have been able to get access to so many areas that we never thought possible quicker and just been able to break the routing of this game wide open because you can get to so many new areas quicker. As we see here, they're going to use the slide jumps and whatnot to cross the gap. Cody's also going to go for a very difficult trick here early on in the run to bypass the buzzsaws, slide jump into the corner, and oh, just barely. Very difficult. You have to grab onto the wall, be able to jump back off of it and grab up onto the ledge above it. It's a very difficult trick that can differentiate the Codys. As well done there for Damon to get it, as Argros splits off and goes and grabs a mini game. And then would you like to talk to us about how we're going to deal with the toolbox boss here? Never mind. That's an inbounds thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's early in the morning. I knew it was going to catch me eventually.
Yeah, so the toolbox, yeah, we're going to kill him normally. Not like we do in any percent or inbounds where you can kind of just kill him off the map. Because his death box is available to you in the previous area. And you can kind of just shoot through the gap and kill him that way. But here we actually have to go through and kill him because we have some checkpoints that we need to collect during the boss fight as well as like in this section here. So
because there's some pretty cool, that's one of the nice things about the three major categories is that there is the kind of the differentiation between them. Like in 100%, it forces us to be exposed to more parts of the game to get the checkpoints, but also still being allowed to do some of the any percent shenanigans, different routes and stuff that we found. But essentially the name of the game here is grabbing the checkpoints that are going to show up during some of these unskippable cutscenes and then getting across to take out the toolbox boss as quickly as we possibly can. And so Mei is going to utilize the slide jump to be able to get across much earlier, whereas normally you'd have to be launched across by one of his arms. But now that we've taken down both of the locks, Mei is going to be able to open up this top board, and there's going to be an aerosol paint can in there. That's going to launch back on top of him, and that's actually the piece that shows up earlier. Because when we got to that first initial show of the toolbox where we open it up, that's the thing that we can shoot from the very beginning. Not sure why it spawns into the world onto the other side of the wall, but it does. And so any percent in inbounds, both just take advantage of that very early on to be able to get away early. So very difficult Cody trick here that Damon is going to go after here. Slide jumping across, getting on top, landing there, and oh my goodness, first try!
good job.
Oh my goodness. Damon's going crack nasty so far this morning, as is Argros. These guys have been prepping for this. But back down to 30 FPS again because there's going to be a wall clip coming on for Argros. But on Damon's side, Damon's going to go for something called back bike here, where in this game, the railings, they try and send players forward as quick as they possibly can. But you know what? We don't need that. We're going to go backwards because why? We want to get checkpoints and we also want to get them fast. So Damon's going to go for back bike. Essentially just jumps backwards on the rail to be able to fight the momentum. Then going to go and grab that. And Argros went the intended way around, clipped through a wall, was able to get to the end quickly. They grab all the checkpoints through the first part, while Damon grabs the checkpoints through the back part. Then they'll meet up again at the end and be able to head to the very end of Shed. Oh, Damon ends up grabbing the first wheel. And they'll head through and ground pound the shovel, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done with Shed. Shed, definitely one of the most high-density trick versus time chapters in this game. I think the world record for any percent is like 3 minutes and 39 seconds or something to that equivalent, or 3 minutes and 23 seconds. And not much farther behind for inbounds and and 100%. As can they both get it? Oh, just barely. Very interesting interactions as well too with the ropes in this game, especially considering these kind of hanging accoutrements here. Whereas if one person's grabbing onto it, it'll start to sway it a little bit, and so it can be difficult for the second player as well to get the proper trajectory off of the end of it. And we'll see a few different opportunities later in the game for how the ropes can be a little bit wacky in this one as far as their physics goes. Key in on Snow Globe for that one as well too. But traditionally, casually through the game, you have to kind of go around the tree, loop your way around to the top before you're able to get to that final lever and head through into the tree itself. But now we're inside the tree, and now we're into capture. No, deeply rooted. And so, oh, go ahead, Argos. What you have? Oh, I did have it the other way around. That's my bad. I'm used to looking at splits. Only played this game for how long now? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so now we get introduced to our first little bit of kind of mechanics, and it's cool because each chapter in this game, the players get kind of a different mechanic. We see Cody has his sap gun and May has the matchstick gun, and combined they can use it to cause the sap to explode to various different effects throughout the world, but Cody's sap has weight, so he can usually use it to kind of bring things down or get access to more areas to the world. And coming up here, we're going to see one of the first examples of the players being able to kind of separate and do various types of movement. But shoutouts to Hazelight for creating a beautiful game, but not only a beautiful game, but one that has collision in pretty much everything in this world. So if you see something, you could probably climb it. And here they're just utilizing the fencing and whatnot to be able to get on through. And again, a lot of these stuff very difficult as Argros trying to utilize a piece of the fence here to get through, as he finally will there. Shoot the sap and be able to get access into a new spot.
Jump out there to get a checkpoint.
And Cody will grab onto that checkpoint as well, and then RCP to bring everybody back together. And here again, just due to the collision and everything, you could pretty much skip a whole bunch of stuff, because here we basically just get to skip this entire gondola section of using the sap and the player's weight to transfer it back and forth, and we'll head on through further into more sections. But the first chance, too, that we get to see the characters kind of separate in this game, which is something that might be common between 80% and inbounds as well. Good slide jump there from Damon to head across onto this massive route. Which makes it a very much quicker way to get across, because this bridge that he's jumping towards ends up having a bit of like a wide camera angle and slows it down to go across. But there we saw Argros go and collect a minigame, and now they'll head back together, and we'll see here how they go across. Oh. I was like, wait a minute, I thought they're both going separate ways, but no. Damon getting wall clip first try. Fantastic opportunity there. But again, usually you see both runners do that because just in case somebody fails, the other person is the backup. But there, only one person needs to get through so that you clip through the wall, get to the other side and are able to get right to the end very quickly because there's no checkpoints needed to gather in that rest of the rail section that leads up to the other side of the wall. So very well done by Damon there as well. And then you want to talk to us a little bit about what just happened there on the door mechanism, as well as how we're going to do this B fight here, Lem.
Yeah, so normally the intended way is for you to use the goo and like make the thing spin around and then shoot the goo and you know, keep going that way. But the characters have weight to them, so you can just jump up there and stand on it. And then for this fight in particular, as long as Mei is the client side, not the host, you can stand there and not take any damage, and then you can just 3-cycle it. You have Cody standing there gooing it up, and then you shoot it. And now we're into Deeply Rooted.
I know. It's just Tree. I think everything else is totally fine. It's just for some reason I get these two screwed up.
Tree is
Yeah. So yeah, I'm an any percent runner, so everything's short except for Joy Fight, but we'll get to that later.
And Joy Fight is up. It's a long time away.
I know. Buckle up, folks. We got lots more run to showcase you, and as we see again, more opportunities. I think this one not a mini game. This is an achievement that they'll go for. They get the nice picture of Cody sitting in the tree. There's a bunch of different ones you can do there as well, and it'll actually spit out Polaroids as well too. So a cute little area that you can explore in the game. But very difficult boss fight coming up here. Lem, would you like to explain what we're gonna do for this one?
Yeah, it's so difficult. All you have to do is just do nothing. All we have to do is just like make sure it's fully gooed up and don't shoot it. Just wait. Because eventually more of them are going to spawn, and Argros is going to be standing in a specific spot ready to shoot him as this one flies by. And then when that second wave spawns, instead of it turning into another hammer that you have to fight again, it just turns into the big one that destroys the floor here.
I think we said, is there a maximum amount of sap that can be on the screen at one time? Because this hammer is getting quite coated right now. This is fair. Oh.
Yeah, here's the...
And we just do it until the time is over, but since we wait, we can do the first hammer on the exact same time every time, but did it barely too early.
Yeah. So it'll break the floor and send us down. And one of our first examples of kind of the conservation of momentum in this game and the chain slides, where if you're sliding down a slope and you end up just kind of continuing to slide on your bum, you'll have the friction slow you down and you'll be kept to a certain speed. But if you jump immediately after touching the ground, you'll just keep getting boosted momentum that you can carry further and further down slopes. And in any percent in Snow Globe, there's actually a whole section dedicated to this, but then we also get to see this, which is unique to 100% in inbounds, where the players can just carry this momentum, and you'll see that sometimes they're even able to go so fast that the bees can't set up in front of them to damage them as we go along. And they'll head on through to the bottom here, and once we get to the bottom of this slide track, we'll finally get a chance to breathe for like the first time in the first 15 or so minutes of this run. Which is interesting that it's unique across all times, where everybody holds their breath, everybody's going crazy until they get to the boat. They get to this section, and finally, everybody just gets to breathe a sigh of relief because you get a bit of auto-scroller and a bit of chance to just kind of relax and recuperate. So very well job to the runners to get here to this point. Just has to shoot a couple of these larvae here, and then he should be free to do that. Actually, are you going to do
you're
it in
good
an
now.
RCP, or... Oh, we're going to do there. There we go. Oh,
All right, so tell us a little bit about what the lore, what's going on.
Sure. So, in this game, as we reconnect to our lovely stream, thank you, Argros. Thank you, Hedron, and everybody that's been helping out and making this fantastic so far. We're going to hear from the fantastic Uncle Reggie again in a little bit with some lovely donations. But first, we've got some lore. So in this game, obviously, May and Cody, they're not doing so hot with their relationship. They're looking to get a divorce. And their daughter, Rose, is very, very sad about this. And so Rose had actually made a couple of dolls imitating her parents and just wanted to see if she could make them happy again. So she made them this little present. And she also bought a couples counseling book called Dr. Hakim's Book of Love, which is trying to teach them to get back together through the woes of collaboration. If you've played this game, you know that accent and it haunts your dreams. But we made it out of the shed because that's where we started when we turned into these dolls. And now we're into the tree. So we're working with the squirrels. They're the ones that gave us this tech, the matchstick gun and the sap gun, to get into here and try and drive out the wasps, because the wasps have taken over the tree, which was the squirrels' home. And so, yeah, that's where we're working right now. We're in line with the squirrels. We're trying to get rid of the wasps. We have to find the fabled wasp queen and take her down. So with that little bit of lore out of the way, where we're at right now, could we get some donations from the fabulous Uncle Reggie?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a reminder that we do only have until the end of this run to get the Archipelago run difficulty upgraded. Still looking to get $110, currently sitting at 90 out of 200. Also, Overcooked 2, we have the ability to pet the dog, $10 per pet, currently sitting at 125 out of $500. And I tell you what, Kevin's been a real good boy, and he deserves all the pets that he could get. One of the awesome things about that Archipelago difficulty increase will be featuring a boss rush from the Rogue Legacy runner in Vertigo, where the world for the game is inverted, flipped upside down, and boy, I tell you, that's just got to make that boss rush so easy.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Reggie.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Lem, would you like to talk to us about this kind of section here and what we're going to see coming up? Just preface it a little bit for us.
Yeah, so you'll see after the runners now pick up both of the lanterns here, they're going to be quitting to menu real quick. And that's because Argros and Daemon, they always disconnect here. And there are a few different spots throughout the game where some players do have that issue. And then you just go to the menu and just to avoid having to disconnect later, because what's going to happen is that like one player is going to be able to move for a bit, and then it's going to take some time, and then they disconnect, right? So this is just like the best way to like circumvent all of that. And this is in part due to something we call desync, how the game tries to line up both players and stuff. But we'll get more into that later, because it's going to be a lot more relevant once we get further into the Rose's Room chapter coming after Tree.
So now that we're all back in, again, now we get to go through this beautiful section that shows us some of the lore and the history of the battle between the wasps and the squirrels. And one more lantern to grab there as we jump on down, and we'll get these little fireflies that'll help us along. And there's a global cycle that these players are going to try and hit using these fireflies. Oh, as Damon's forced to go early there. Just about. Game of inches here in ITT. Good save by Damon there. As they'll go through the rest of the fireflies here. Damon's actually knew they weren't going to make that there, so they're going to set up for a death warp here. As Argros going to get up to the next section. And coming up, we're going to see our big old friendly catfish friend at the bottom of this hole in the trunk. So Argros going to clip on the wall to be able to get back to a normal state, and ground pound cancel to fall quickly. Damon's going to go for the death warp at the same time. Will they get out at the same time? Yeah, baby, turn that catfish. All right, here we go. Because sometimes, hey,
That's
I'm
the
excited
energy.
because sometimes if you don't get there quick enough, or if you're slightly off cycle, then the catfish he gets a little confused. He'll just keep turning around in that in the bottom of the tree well there, and so it'll kill a little bit of time as he goes for another lap before getting out there. So well done to the runners for being able to get out on time. Oh no, they're both gonna die. Never mind, it's fine. We don't actually care about this one. Oh no, not again. Yeah, no. This section completely AFKable. Another chance for the runners to kind of rest their hands, rest their minds, and just be able to get ready for the next section. Oh my goodness. It's been a good one so far. Any more donations?
While
Reggie?
we're, I was going to say, while we're writing Windfish 2.0, are there any major differences in between the inbounds and 100% run that you personally, as commentators, are excited to see?
Ooh, Lem,
Oh,
you
spaced
are
out.
the architect, so you want to talk to us about that? Yeah.
I think, yeah, for me personally, I'm the most excited about Spaced Out. I am very biased though because I routed that subchapter a lot. So it's one of my babies, and that's coming up in not too long. We have some more section of tree to go through before we get to Rose's room, but then once we get there, it's coming fast.
I'm very excited for that as well too. And I mean, I'm excited for Snow Globe in general just because no matter what category you run, that chapter is just absolutely insano mode. And I love it as Argros hits the brakes and goes back and grabs onto the mini game because the momentum almost carrying them past, but good recognition as well too. And then just carrying the slide jumps off of the rails. They'll head forward. They'll use a frog jump to line this up. Oh, Damon just gets in there. Good job. As they'll grab the fireflies early, use it to launch across and land on this elevator, because normally they have to go all the way around and wait for those fireflies to show up at the end of a bridge and then jump across. So nice, cool little optimization. But I just mentioned the term frog jump. Now, we haven't seen any frogs in this game yet. We're going to see them later. But in this game, a frog jump that we've called it is if you initiate a dash and a jump at the same time, your character will do essentially like a long jump animation. And it's a really cool tool that allows us to kind of line certain things up because it's a set distance every time that you do it. So you can line certain things up, and you can often use it to initiate into a slide jump because you can do a frog jump and land sliding and then be able to do a slide jump out of that. So just a cool piece of tech that allows us to, I mean, and it's intended within the game too. So just allows us to access different areas and line up certain things. But coming up at the top of this elevator, we're going to have another boss fight with our beetle. Slim likes to call it a very, very cute beetle.
It is a very cute beetle.
I've actually done so much research to try and figure out what kind of a beetle this guy is. Because it's not traditionally, I want to say it was a Hercules beetle, but it's a weird mixture between like a Hercules beetle and another type of beetle that I can't remember the name of. It's like weirdly in between because the horn is a different piece on it. And I spent like way longer than I should have trying to figure out what it actually was. Shout outs to the devs at Hazelight for creating a new type of beetle. But would you like to tell us about this boss fight?
Yeah, you can't damage him just directly, but there is conveniently these like holes in the ground that he's gonna run over, and as long as you fill them up with goo, you can shoot them as he like comes over it, and we do a lot of damage. We have these specific ones that we're going to. You see here, Cody lined it up so that like he would still stand across this one, so you can just shoot it as he's jumping, and he's coming here, and yeah, that one was really good.
Let's go. No half jumps.
No half jumps. Not a beetle is our friend. We've promised him some nectar.
Oh man, this poor beetle. Yeah, no, it's funny how that works. You blow him up a couple of times, and then you practice him some nectar. Oh, nectar, yummy! And then he's just our friend. What would you like to? I was gonna say there really just looks like an auto scroller, but there's really only one thing that you can do to make sure that this goes faster. What is that, Lem?
Jumping. at the very start of a jump, it's you gain more momentum. So as long as you keep jumping, that's the fastest way. I don't think it's like a significant amount, but you know, it's easy enough to do, so why not do it, right?
Speedrunners, minimal time game over long range in the game, absolute fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the
Just
little
have to be
things
careful.
that
Yeah, just have to be careful of these gaps. So like, if you just constantly spam jump, you are definitely going to be falling to your death.
Yeah. Utilizing the right side of the log here to be able to grab some of the jumps a little bit quicker, just again, that very minimal stuff. But then coming up, we're going to finally meet up with the fabled Wasp Queen. But something's going to look a little bit strange with the Wasp Queen. I mean, we've seen what the Wasps all look like going so far in this game, but an RCP there to skip some of the cutscenes that are going to come up at the end of this section. And we're going to head into Extermination. And oh my goodness, it's a giant mech! Yeah, so the Wasp Queen in this game is just a giant mechanized wasp. And so we're going to have to deal with this by blowing up a bunch of different sections of the body that have health associated to them. So as we saw there, we just dropped the first section on the bottom front. So Cody's going to head to the side here and put some sap on the sides while then adding a little bit at the end of the top. So once Damon thinks that he's got enough on the side, they're going to load up the front chest piece and then have a little bit on the arm to be able to kind of chain everything together, because the explosions have radius and then they will trigger off of each other as well too. So by damaging that bottom section enough that it falls off, and then also doing a little bit of damage to that front section, we're setting it up for the later stage where when it's the last thing we want to knock off of her, all we have to do is get a tiny little piece of sap on there and get the shot away, and bada bing, bada boom, we'll be into the very, very final phase, which will be trying to knock down that chain that holds up the Wasp Queen mech. Wait, is that a safe spot on that fence at the front? Were you just standing on that fence at the front?
Yeah, you can stand on every
What?
You didn't know that?
I did not know that. I only knew about the one to the right arch. I've never seen that before. Oh, he said the marathon thing.
You can't use it as a safe spot in this because the scissors just have a higher hitbox.
Okay.
So
And there's a safe spot on the left arch as well.
Indeed.
Okay. I've only ever utilized the right one, I think.
Yeah, it's
Oh!
the easiest one to do, so.
Oh no!
Why would you do
Damon.
the others, really?
All the wasps forming into different styles, as Damon's gonna try and show me exactly what I've been missing. Go to the left arch, but now we're back into this final stretch here. So we knocked off the back piece with the wings, and then as soon as the scissors are done, we're gonna see if we can line up off to the left side. There is a little bit of the sap there. Yes, very well done. Because a lot of stuff spawns in at the beginning. We got swords, we got shields, we got everything that's trying to interfere with these runners getting to that last section. But because of the damage that they did earlier on, very well done to be able to just really take one little bit of sap and blow it up. Now it's just fighting the rail momentum, similar to what we saw back in Backbike and Shed. And we're going to blow up the Wasp Queen, and we move forward to Getaway. So a couple of the things that we'll miss in the cutscenes there is the fact you see there's a bee. That's the queen bee, which was actually a operative of the squirrels. And then the squirrels end up seeing us with the queen bee and think that we've betrayed them and are now working with the wasps. Cool differentiation, though, to talk about quick here. Maybe Argros can point at it. Is in any percent. Never mind, they just keep going forward. And oh, there it is. You see that window?
Yeah, back there.
It's like, wait a minute. Yeah. That window back there in any percent is the way to get out of bounds and turn this section into basically like a 3-minute auto scroller that saves like 20 seconds. But in any percent, or pardon me, in 100% in inbounds, we got to go through this, because in inbounds you want to stay within the outer bounds of the level, but you got to stay within this tunnel. And then for any percent, we got checkpoints to gather through here. But yeah, now that we're in here, it's time to escape. The squirrels, they were our friends. Now they're our foes. They're trying to send all of their might towards us. They got catapults. They got airplanes. They got airplanes that clip through walls. They got lots of stuff going on here to try and take down our beautiful boxer brief airplane with a very sketchy looking explosive propulsion system on the bottom. And yeah, now it's time to escape. So really only want, like, we'll have a couple cool pieces of tech near the middle, but do we have time for a donation or two if there's one laying around?
Yeah, absolutely. We currently going to update you on some of our bid wars. Final Fantasy IV free enterprise harp song. We have a war between fantasy and sci-fi. We're going to try to tip that if you want to go old school or new wave. Also, the Zeromus sprite from free enterprise could be fantasy or sci-fi as well. So it's really just whatever your heart desires. And we are currently sitting at $2,135 out of our $3,000 donation stretch goal. So go ahead and try to keep things moving. For some little info on Multithon, it is a 4-day speedrunning event benefiting Blue Path Service Dogs. Our goal is to show off the best speedrunning community, or the speedrunning community has to offer in cooperation and collaboration through showcasing runs and games that feature connection with others, be that in the game or a friend to play it with. Our schedule is packed head-to-head with races, creative collaboration, and so much more. So try typing !schedule in the chat to see all of the great things we have coming up for you this week.
Oh,
I love and appreciate you, Reggie.
Reggie, you're fantastic. Ironic that we're raising money to help animals because we just beat the crap out of a squirrel on top of that plane. Oh my goodness, Argros doing the perfect cycle there of the jump kicks to take out the boss, which is the leader of the squirrels, as he finally caught up with us as we came out the other end of the tunnel. And yeah, the really cool thing about this game is how often it showcases different styles and different nods to different genres of games. So we've seen obviously 3D platforming. There's in Shed, there's a little bit of an example of 2D platforming during the tutorial that we kind of skip. There's top-down ARPG that shows up later. There's lots of cool things that show up throughout this world. So, pardon me. What would you say for David and Argros? What would you say is one of your favorite parts of this game so far? Like throughout this speed run, do you have a favorite moment or part of this speed game early on in the early chapters? I know what one of your favorite chapters is overall, but something we've seen so far.
Yeah, for the 100% category, without a doubt, Shed's really unique. And the aspects that you get double the gameplay that you get in any other category that's the main category. And so it's really interesting on how you're able to deal with that kind of longer start than you're used to. And so it's a lot of fun to be able to do a lot more unique tech that you don't get to be able to do.
Indeed, Shed 100% is definitely is one of the peak things in 100% and also overall in the game.
Yeah, I myself have run, and I know Lem's run Shundo, and it is fantastic. As an 80% runner, it really kind of opened my eyes to other categories in this game. Pardon me. But now we have finally escaped the tree, we've escaped the squirrels, and now we move on to Rose's room, which is this the longest subchapter in the game across all three, or does Tree hold a candle in any of them? I can't remember. Oh my god, Argros with so much momentum. Let's go. As they're going to go forward. We'll talk about that in a second. They'll go forward and they'll grab onto some future checkpoints before grabbing out of the minigame. Uh-oh.
What is
Just doing RCP here?
Oh?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Here they disconnected.
That's an uncommon disconnect, but it was a disconnect. And that's why we RCP'd out at the main menu.
Damon, are you still around?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
good,
inviting them to the lobby. One of those many instances of how connection from across the world can affect your gameplay in the speed run. It doesn't happen too often, but when the players are just close enough to being in connection, but one on like the person joining lobby's perspective gets it, then you're not able to actually go through with it. So unfortunate DC.
I think we can blame that on both of our players playing too fast. They're so fast the game just cannot keep up.
That's legitimately part of it, I think. Like when you think about the lantern, I think
that is the easiest way to put it.
I mean, where's the lie though? Like speaking of these guys being too fast, like a quick shout out here. These two runners currently hold the sweep of every major category world record, both full game and IL across the three categories. So any percent, inbounds, 100%. For PC Online, these guys hold every single world record in this game. Absolute chads. So yeah, come on out to the community and try and dethrone them if you can.
Here is Spaced Out. This is my baby.
Please tell us about your baby.
So, one of the cool things about this level, first of all, is that you see Mei gets these gravity boots, so she can like change her gravity depending on like what surface she stands on, and Cody can turn small and giant. And normally the way you would go through this is you would have to go up through this tower and go through each of these portals. And each of the categories deal with this area completely differently. So any percent, I found a skip that saves like 3 minutes, puts you towards the third phase and the final boss here. But you see here now, Argros is going way out of bounds. So that's because all of the portal rooms are loaded. They're just invisible. And so this is the green portal room. If you play this game casually before, you'll know this is the 2D scroller section, which would usually take a long time to go through. And I thought this is cool because you can just like fall down to the end. Conveniently, there is a gravity wall at the end there, so Mei can turn the right side. And also you hit like a spawn point for Cody as well. That's why you saw like Cody die and end up spawning down there. It's one of the things I'm really proud of finding here. I spent a lot of time routing in Spaced Out, and I think it's just such a cool area.
When I tell you I freaked out the other day when I saw that the first time. I'd never seen that out of bounds before. It was wild. Sorry, keep going, Lem. Keep talking. I love it. I love learning about this place.
Yeah, here they're racing for a global cycle because, as Jan has said, everything has collision, including these rings. And so if you make it here fast enough, you can make it up here to the moon and just like slide down to the robot over here.
But it's so good.
Yeah. So that's how you like activate each of the portals. At the end of them, there's this robot that you have to activate, and then it sends power back to the main tower, and you can go back through there. You see, it shows up like a loading symbol on the bottom right. It's not actually a checkpoint that it saves. It's like the increment of how many like portals has been activated. So theoretically, if you're able to clip into the final thing to like activate the portal or the tower to go further up, that's what gives you the checkpoint that we're after. Since we don't have any way of like clipping into them as far as we know, then we have to do all of the portals. But I think that makes it an interesting split between all 3 different major categories here. Because for inbounds, you just like go sideways and climb all the way up to the tower.
My apologies. I had my mic muted.
Yeah.
No, you're doing a wonderful job explaining this. I could get lost listening to you explain 100% routing any day. My goodness.
These are the things. If you're able to clip into like these when they're closed, you could interact with them theoretically and get the checkpoint here that we're after. Now they're both splitting up. You see Cody grabbing a checkpoint real quick, and then they're both heading to get the mini games here. And then they're going to just be RCPing to get back up to the top. And then we have some more interesting portals up top as well.
Oh, laser tag. I remember the epic wars that several runners have had in laser tag.
Yeah, so you'll see them. They're splitting up here. And the only reason for that is Cody can get over this door by being like small and like launching himself up. And conveniently, these like gravity plates that you can stand on, they also work if you stand on the backside of them. So you can line yourself up with this specific block here. And when Mei just like falls down, you're gonna be at the end of the portal room that Cody is in right now. You see the interact prompt on Mei's screen. That's the end here that like Mei has to hit.
Cody, able to skirt the edge of those laser barriers using the wall jump technique back and forth, and we'll grab on here, and Argros just gonna head over, fall down, and grab onto this, and just weird ways that the geometry and the points of view in this game interact with each other as well too. Shout outs to Hazelight again for making such a wonderful game that we've broken so beautifully.
Also, the developers for this game have been amazing for the speedrunning community as well. They're like really open with communication and stuff, so they're really cool. You see again they're splitting up here, and that's because Mei has to grab this achievement that takes a long time to go through. You have to like listen to each of these like different points to be able to get the achievement. And so while May is doing that, then Cody is just setting up for this other portal. So they won't be restarting from checkpoint after this. So they can just like walk in here and quickly complete it.
Oh, we love rail cancel momentum. So would you like to explain how that one works too? Because I'm still not even 100% sure about the physics behind a rail cancels.
I can try.
I have time right now. So, rail cancels if you dash on a rail, which is a normal intended mechanic, and then cancel. You keep the momentum of the dash. Like if you do it in the early part of the dash, you keep that insane momentum and just fly off of the rail in the direction you wanted to go. Or like the rail was supposed to bring you. Not necessarily where you want to go, because if that would be the case, we would have some crazy routes going on.
Heck yeah. Did you see? Well, we'll see it at different times. I mean, we saw it right like early on as well too, to be able to get on top of those giant orbiting rings that were around the planet earlier on. I love listening to this achievement. They're so good in any language, really, too. And again, like all the voice actors that contributed to adding into the different languages in this game. Just thank you very much for doing that, and to Hazelight for adding that into the game. It's added a nice, cool layer for sure. Although, as speedrunners, we were all terrified to see like a 30 gigabyte update on the on the Steam store. We're like, oh no, our runs are routing. What's happening? But no, it's just all the different voices.
Yeah. So far, they never patched any bugs or glitches, which is really nice.
So yeah, now they're gonna catch back up to each other here and utilize another achievement here where Cody goes real small and May launches him into the stratosphere. And they'll be able to head out and use, again, the small little bit of collision with these glass panes along the side here and the pillows to be able to climb up the side here early and head across these pillows to get towards the end. Cody utilizes the chain slide jump there, and a really cool, I love this rope tech here, where the players grab onto this and they work so in sync to be able to grab onto these, and as soon as one person grabs it, the other person's thing, good recovery there. As soon as one person grabs onto it, it allows the other person's to be accessible, and they're just able to get across in beautiful collaboration, as we still love saying. I'm not allowed to say that word without the accent, I've been told.
I'm so
Argros.
stupid. My bad.
Oh.
We are not supposed to be there. I just threw away the progress that Damon did in this portal, so we now need to do that again.
That is right. But there is...
You got left.
There is backups to this in the sense of now the players can do this together. And I believe the early on routing in this as well was to do this room together before a lot of the oob that Lemon discovered and routed was found. So now we'll get to actually see some of this collaboration in here as well too.
Jan, you're great. You know that?
Thank you, Loud. Always honored to be able to have some fun and help show off this game in the community, because this was my first ever speedrunning game. I'd never run a game before, and my best friend IRL Glint, who was once the world record holder in this game as well, with It's Bite, so I've seen in the chat a few times. It's got me into running this game in the any percent category, and it's been fantastic. Met a lot of wonderful people through this game. So yeah, they'll backtrack, they'll get this teleporter all ready to go, and they'll head back on through. And the whole goal of this is to be able to power up this gravity well elevator to be able to take us all the way to the top to take on Moon Baboon, because Moon Baboon has designated us as public enemy number 1. Because we're trying to, at this point, we've deduced that we think the reason why we've turned into dolls is because Rose cried on the dolls, and now our souls have been transported into them, because in the cutscene at the very beginning of Rose's room, we see Rose going and like trying to get us to wake up, because May and Cody look like they're both asleep in the real world. Oh, as May just about getting lasered. Damon will get onto the pillar and raise that up. But yeah, Moon Baboon, he obviously doesn't want to see Rose cry, because we think, you know what? If the tears turned us into dolls, the tears are going to turn us back. And Moon Baboon overhears this using his surveillance, and now he's trying to stop us, because he thinks, well, he's Rose's favorite toy, and he's going to do anything to protect her at all costs. As speedrunners common do, bit of a safe spot-ish in the corner. Still a few things you have to do, as Cody can get small and dodge underneath the lasers, while May just has to stand in the corner and jump over top of them, because for some reason the little laser bombs just don't reach May or Cody in the corners. As we get a lovely look at our dad friend Cody. May will utilize the gravity boots to head up the side here and grab onto this last laser tower. Now we get to rip this pesky laser gun off of the bottom of the UFO. But again, this entire fight here, this happens in inbounds as well, but in any percent, all of this stuff that we've seen just completely gets wiped off of the map thanks to Lamara. Because utilizing we mentioned a similar strategy to how we did some of those rooms where we were able to go out of bounds and everything's loaded in. You get right into this UFO. Because the inside of this UFO is loaded in somewhere else within the world right now. So we're trying to break this UFO open and get inside to be able to eject Moon Baboon out. That is our ultimate goal. That section is loaded in somewhere out in the cosmos. And we're able to get right to the end of it and just gonna get through to the end as, very close for Damon. So there's a trick there where Damon and Cody can actually land on top of the UFO and be ready to go right into the hatch that opens up there, as we'll see. Damon will get inside, and now coming up, we're going to get to see a very, very cool off-screen blind trick here in UFO. It's another inbound!
That's inbounds.
2 for 2, baby! I wanted to showcase it so bad, but I forget that there's checkpoints in here.
The checkpoints we have to get, so we don't do it.
Pain.
But yeah,
Can confirm it is incredible.
Yeah. And Reggie had the chance to sit in on one of the inbounds runs earlier during practice. So, but at the other side of it, Damon will sacrifice that to show us some other cool little things that you can do, like jumping on top of this to be able to skip through to this section here. But normally in any percent, and in inbounds, that part that he just got to here, you can cut through very early on in this temple run style of section and be able to go and navigate off screen to get across and cut out that entire section of running where you're having to dodge lasers and go through different things. And you get to that button, which that's the button in any percent that is loaded in, that last stretch that's loaded in off the beginning, and you can go to that and just get right to this section instead of having to do all of that different stuff. But this section, really one of the only kind of RNG manipulations in the game where you can reset from checkpoint at the beginning to get a better starting spot for Moon Baboon on this little moon. We had to hit him 3 times with the UFO laser, and then that'll send us into the next section. Bada bing, bada boom. Goodbye, Moon Baboon.
That's spaced out then.
Such an awesome chapter.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so many cool things. I think all of the categories are really cool there. Like you get to see so many different things.
Direction. I guess that.
Yeah, one of them must have remembered to go and pick up the minigame here.
Indeed.
It's the inbound brain. It's getting all of us today. Yeah, so
because normally in any percent, you can like minigame warp to minigames as long as you like get close enough to them. In 100%, the rules for that is a tiny bit different. You have to actually like unlock the minigame, as in go and interact with it, to be allowed to minigame warp to it. And so that's what they're doing here. They went and got checkpoint. They're minigame warping here because this is an achievement that they have to do together. and then after this is done, you can just restart from checkpoint and be brought all the way back forward again. So, yeah.
Cool way to move around the world, and then also have incentive to go grab different places and whatnot. Especially within the casual playthrough of this game, the mini games are so much fun. So as we'll see here, nice, grabs that first checkpoint while Argros goes through and remembers to grab the mini game, whereas then that'll give the chance for Damon to head up top and grab the other checkpoint at the top here so they can RCP. Again, just making sure they grab that in sequential order as well too, so that when they RCP, they are able to get back up there instead of sending them all the way back to the beginning. Then we go to the schoolhouse, which, yeah, number match, don't need them. Picture match, don't need them. Connect the dots, don't need them. We're going right to the end. As normally, there's a bunch of little mini games collaboratively that you have to do there, where you have to like have both players holding onto a pencil and draw and connect the dots and stuff like that. But we get to use the slide jumps to, again, give us early access to different areas, and then there's just a trigger for the cutscene at the very end of that section right by the teacher's desk, and as soon as somebody kind of breaks that plane, then you're just able to get through to the next part. Now the players will work together to get the cheese ball to roll into the hole at the end. But sometimes in this section, it can interact a little bit strangely, where sometimes I'd always forget. Is it May or Cody that ignores? May?
May just doesn't affect the cheese at all, like the board. And then you're just sad.
Isn't that kind
reminding
of
us who the real star is?
Cody mains rise up. As you can tell, I'm a Cody main. Lem plays May. Yucky.
But May's just so fun, you know?
Oh, one of my favorite utilizations of collaboration in this game. Nicely done.
Nice. Good job.
They can, as soon as one player gets over top of one of the blocks, it'll launch the next one to show up. And so if you do it in beautiful synchronization, then you get to the end very quick, as they'll utilize, again, more collision with the environment with those strands of lights to be able to get up top there quickly. And essentially what we're skipping in a lot of these rooms is just little, I was going to say little work together puzzles, because I'm going to have to say that stupid word. That word is going to be in my brain for the next like 3 days. I'm going to be calling a hockey game, and I'm going to say, yeah, these players are collaborating really well. Oh my goodness. I love you guys.
Happens.
As the players are going to work together for another achievement here, where they'll grab the mini game for batting team, and then they will fill up this piggy bank and smash it to get all the coins back out and get an achievement. And here, one of the coolest pieces of tech that we only get to see in inbounds, because in 80% and 100%, we get these fidget spinners, and they're super cool. But in 2 of the 3 major categories, we basically don't get to see them, because here we're going to use them to grab a couple of different checkpoints associated with these valves. And then as soon as we grab these checkpoints, we're just going to head out of bounds and go right to the end. But in inbounds, there's a really cool section of movement with these, where if you utilize the momentum off of bouncing off of the ground with these fidget spinners off of like bouncy terrain, like bouncy castle terrain, it just boosts you so quick and so fast. And if you put the fidget spinner below you right as you're about to hit the ground, it just launches you, and you continue to chain that through all the way to the end. But here, as we saw, we just get to go through a crack in the pillows, go to the very end, and a epilepsy warning and flashing lights warning for the next little section here. Is this section going to have a lot of bright colors quickly flashing? So if you're sensitive to that, then please just look away for a little bit, and we'll let you know when you can look back.
Yeah,
I saw the warning in the Google Doc. I was like, oh no, I almost forgot.
It's a good thing I made it so big, right?
I know. What were you going to say, Argros?
I said that I, as usual, in like all the practice runs, forgot that I can go oop here. Yeah.
Yeah, but there is, as you guys saw in comparison, a little cool oob that just skips having to go the casual way.
Indeed.
You can get out of that initial
casual.
drop
I'm not
early
a speedrun
on
anymore.
Yeah. Argos like, I need to change things up.
Yeah, we did a lot of inbounds practice, and we're also inbounds runners at hard. So there's a reason why sometimes we forget a couple things, and it's also always hard to remember everything in a category that is as long as this. And we also practice inbounds a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. No, you guys really put inbounds on the map and then just didn't stop.
Yeah, inbounds is fun.
We all learned to fear your guys' as soon as we knew you guys were going to the rest of the categories, we're like, it's over. It's all over for the rest of us. So another example of the slide jump being used to break open the game, being able to grab and have enough height to get to the various levels of the kaleidoscope tower, instead of having to use the puzzle of kind of working them around before we get there. And we'll head all the way to the top, and the stream loved that bitrate so much. But the light sensitivity warning is over now, so you can look back as we get into train station, where with these dolls, typically throughout this section, you have to grab all these dolls, put them on these various little platforms, these little connectors, and utilize them to send electricity and power all the way to the gatehouse here. But as you can see there, if you grab that one doll, you look at one area, you look at the other, like the interactable place to put it, you can get the game to think that you've put the doll in both. So it kisses an invisible version of itself. Then you pick it up, which you're also not supposed to be able to do, and then put it in the last thing to open up the gate and head on out into Dino Land. So pretty cool section there. And there is a backup that that Argros is going for, grabbing onto a doll just in case something went awry there with Damon putting them in there. Damon will go the safe strat there to just grab May out of the red dino, and then grab onto that piece, because this section pretty much done casually. There's a few small optimizations that we'll see throughout it, but for the most part, these two runners just going to head through and utilize the red dino's tail to flip everything around. And they just have kind of the specific spots that they're able to get it quite quick, except they almost forgot about it. They got him so fast. An achievement here for eating the red dino. And then they'll grab onto this, very quickly do it. Nice! The clip through, just a bit of an optimization. Then we get a death warp, and it brings them back to the top. And as soon as May gets across there, May's pretty much done. May's going to get absolutely sniped by this pterodactyl. And then Cody's going to go to the end, grab onto that platform, rise it to the top to activate the end of level trigger with the lever, then use the slide jumps to head across and use all the momentum and height that it gains to go up to the top, grab the lever, and drop the ball on top of the dino, wake him up, and we're through into Pirates Ahoy. Get my tongue tied. But yeah, so coming up in Pirates Ahoy, we're going to see the aforementioned desync. Would you like to talk to us a little bit more about that and what we're going to see here in this wonderful little subchapter, Lem?
Desync obviously depends a bit on like how far away you are from the other player as well, like how much ping you have. But essentially what's going on here is that each player have their own version of the boat, and then the server tries to like align them as well as it can. So sometimes you'll see when they shoot that like suddenly the cannonball is like either going cross-eyed or it's just not shooting from the boat at all. And that's like a clear indication of desync here. And if you played through, because you can play this game split screen on local as well. You don't have to play it online, so it's a good like co-op couch game as well. And going through this section on just local is a lot faster because you don't have another boat to align with.
Indeed. Luckily, we didn't have much problems there with desync.
Yeah, no, that looked really good.
Shoutouts to solo co-op runners for having that so stupidly easy because they're just playing it themselves.
Well, I mean, you know, playing with two controllers at once doesn't really sound too easy, but...
Yeah.
That's true. Shoutouts to Good Noise, Bites. I think there was another person that started running solo co-op recently too. I can't remember their name.
Library, Panda.
Yeah.
A couple people started doing it.
Nice. I think the original pioneer was really Good Noise though. Beat this game in under 2 hours, speedrunning by himself. May we say hello and goodbye to who is Hyper, because his profile picture's a penguin and we love Hyper. One of the original world record holders in this game, way back in the day, running with its bites. And then coming up, so we have this octopus And we have a thing with him called 2 cycle where we avoid having to do an extra damage cycle at the end. But for the longest time, we had no idea what truly caused it, and it was just a lot of pain. Because if you didn't get it, it was because you missed by 1 hit point. It was always the same. It was you missed him by 1 damage, and we could never figure it out. So it was just an extra 20 seconds of time loss filled with so much distraught and pain. But we now know what causes it, and Lem's going to tell us about it.
Yeah, so that this boss, the octopus, has like 50 health. And the whole thing that you have to make sure that you do here in the beginning is not miss your shots. Because as long as both players are able to hit all of their shots, you're gonna deal 26 damage, so it ends up at 24 HP. If you miss it by 1, it's gonna end up at 25, which is when it like activates its next phase, and then you're gonna miss the 2 cycle with that 1 damage as mentioned. And we have a lineup with the health bar here with the background, so I'm very confident that they got it right now. Don't think there is any way they can mess this up. Crossing my fingers here.
Commentator's curse.
But yeah, no, it's just make sure you hit all of your shots, and if you ever miss one, either miss another one purposefully to get back on even shots, or have your partner also miss a shot intentionally.
So they're gonna hit this last tentacle here, and we'll see. Did they get it? All looks good. Nice. Hey!
No commentator scares.
What is taking the time save, baby? Oh, that's so good. Oh man, these guys these guys have been doing fantastic throughout this run. There's a lot of good hard tricks that have been done first try or darn near close to it, and yeah, no, two cycle octopus, another good 20-second time saver. Because then if you don't get him in that cycle, then his tentacles come back out, starts flipping your boat. It's a bad time, but they get it in the 2 cycle. And now we're on to the greatest show, where we're gonna use. No, we're not going to, because this is 100%. So I was almost 3-3. So in any percent and in inbounds, we're able to use a slide jump that kind of bypasses this first section and gets us around the first door. But in 100%, there's checkpoints associated with this marble, because the intended casual playthrough through this section is to carry this marble with you, utilize a few little puzzles to get it all the way to the end, because there's this giant jester balloon that's holding up the drawbridge, and we want to get rid of it. What? Oh my god, you did not just do that. What? Only in the marathon, folks. I have not seen that yet. And they freaking pull it off. Let's go.
So yeah, that is really, really hard and inconsistent. Damon goes for it every single time and doesn't get it usually. So yeah, we just launch that ball to the end. And usually you just drop it on the next rail, and I'll catch it up and do the thing. Yeah, we didn't need to do that.
That is wonderful.
Gosh, that feels so good. Yeah. You can miss that and just have to redo the whole puzzle too, so it's actually risky.
Some more desync looking sussy with trying to drop the ball early, but it just goes right where it's supposed to. And then here, Argros is going to grab out of this marble and set it up right near the edge, while Cody goes across and sets their death checkpoint on the far side. They're going to head over. Oh, just quite barely slides off the edge of it, but they're going to head back across. And both are going to work together this time just in case. Slide across. If you land on this piece of wood right on the edge, you can grab onto the marble, but you don't reset your death checkpoint back to that side. So you can fall off, pass away, head back to the other side, and it'll get rid of you having to go across, platform across the balloons once again. But then they'll load up the marble, take out the balloon, drop the drawbridge, and we're out of Greatest Show and heading into Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time in the other categories of inbounds at any percent is basically just get to the end as fast as you can. Too bad there's a great, beautiful world that we don't get to explore. But in 100%, we actually do get to see some of the more cool stuff to do with Once Upon a Time. So what are we looking for, Len? What are we looking for in Once Upon a Time in Hundo?
Yeah, we have to. There is a mini game that we have to grab, so you'll see one of the players going for that right now, and then the other is gonna go for the 2 other achievements that you can get here as well. One of them is interacting with the train on the top here. So that's that achievement done. And then the other one is going through this this thing. And then, yeah, you see Cody here setting up the final part. So while we're waiting for me to finally pop out and be playable again, that'll be done by the time he comes up.
And good timing as well, too. Oh, the slide jump into it. Argros going for swag style right here. My goodness. Sometimes those Jenga towers with the desync can be a little bit funky, too. Like the bowling ball will be 3/4 of the way through it, and then it just blows up. and you'll get the pieces going all the way across the map. You'll be in the other corner, and you all of a sudden have Jenga blocks falling on you. But we got a sneak peek of the character that we're going to visit very, very shortly. Cutie the Elephant Queen, which was on top of that door as we busted right through. But now we're into Dungeon Crawler. So I mentioned a couple of different odes to different genres in this game, and this is one of them too, the top-down ARPG, where we get to see these characters. They have their various abilities, and in 100%, there's a few checkpoints that we have to go through in this section, but as Cody uses the reset off of the ultimate to be able to get across, now can freeze the lava. So at 80%, we would have already clipped up out of bounds onto the walls, whereas here in 100%, we have to head through some of the inbound section to grab checkpoints, but these runners, they've got this section down to a T. They know where enemies are going to spawn. They know the cycles, so they're just going to use that to their advantage to rip and tear, much like Doom Guy would, through everything in this early sections. But there will be a out-of-bounds clip coming up in a little bit once they get enough of the checkpoints. As we'll see here, they utilize their dash, just wiggle their way up the wall. No way Cody gets that first.
Oh, and Cody fell inbound.
No! I was like...
Which, unfortunately, you just have to restart from checkpoint at that point. There's no saving that.
Let's go. Unless I'm crazy, is May supposed to get that one first or no? Or am I just crazy? Because I know that Cody's.
If Cody does it well, he's just faster.
There you go.
So they're picking up a checkpoint there. And now they both have to grab one here at the end. So you can both just stand on top of the bookshelves here and be able to hit that.
We saw Dr. Hakim show up in the bottom right. Ooh. And then they'll end up in the last room here. And then, because we had gone out of bounds, the camera is a little bit screwy.
No, it's
it's
be fine because we hit all the checkpoints.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
Start to the checkpoint.
I had it the wrong way around. See, any percent it looks weird, but then in here, the runners can actually... how quick they get through this does matter because the camera kind of drags the demonic Jack-in-the-Box girl along behind them. So the quicker they get to the end and the quicker they do this, the faster that she'll come forward to this. And oh no, she's gonna get us! JK lol. Goodbye, into the lava, never to be seen or heard from again. And then we head on into the troll fight. Tell us about this cute little troll, Lem.
So the troll will always charge first in the bottom right corner. And after that, it cycles aggro between the players. So you'll just see both of them stand at the next chain and wait until it begins charging and then dash away. We'll do that all the way around. The one thing that you do want to avoid is that it goes across the middle, because sometimes it bonks into something in the middle and just stops there and doesn't go all the way to the chain. Which is why we're just going counterclockwise around the room.
And I believe if you damage him during his dash, he'll just stop running as well too, which is another thing you have to watch out for.
Yeah, I think so.
Indeed, and sometimes he then also just decides to not work for a couple more charges for no reason. It's really just don't hit him at all and you're fine. But if you ever hit him, you're really scared. Everything could go wrong at that point.
So God, no, please. So yeah, tell us about this fight, Lem. Beautiful, beautiful king and queen fight.
Yeah, this is one of the most... I think it is the most RNG heavy part of the run. Because the queen kind of just goes wherever she wants. But the king will always follow you. So the strat here is to just follow the queen and then hope that the king gets close enough to where you can damage them both at the same time. Because they do have a shared health bar, so if you're able to hit them both at the same time, you kill them faster.
And it can be anywhere from the very beginning to the very end. So like sometimes the queen won't leave those first like 4 blocks in front of the door, and sometimes she just starts going all the way to the corners. But we have finally made it. We have made it to the queen. And so yeah, if you don't like seeing dismemberment of stuffed animals, maybe look away for a few seconds. Because yeah, I talked about, we got turned into dolls because we were cried on, but we think that maybe the possibility of turning out of dolls is because we can make Rose cry again. And what better way to do that than to chuck her favorite toy off the top of the bookshelf? So that's what we're working towards here. And shout outs to the Hazelight devs for making this the one thing that we cannot skip in this game. Whether it is any percent, inbounds, 100%, does not matter. We have not found a way to get around this. And so we just have to go through the emotional damage every single time that you run this game. But just in case you don't believe us, that we need to do this and that this is necessary, we have a copy pasta that we've created for this section that I'll read to you here. Hidden behind a veneer of cuteness is a dictatorship. The queen monitors her people through surveillance that extends into space. She manipulates her people with a facade of being a cute elephant while executing and torturing her political opponents. To the very end, when the revolution catches up with her, she is pleading through this fake persona to save her own life while being completely unfeeling to the thousands that perished in her dungeons. Oh, thank you for putting the copy pasta in the chat as well.
I mean, yeah,
Shout out to the community for making that and keeping it around for such a long time now.
It was Alien God that made that for the first time, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
So the real Tommy, I'm here for the best part. Oh my! Hey, what's up, Tommy? And so that's it. That's all. Emotional damage aside, we're done with Rose's room. Which this is going to take us into Clock, which is some really cool stretches to the game here as well. Possibly the most thematically beautiful here. Whereas in 100%, we get to utilize the character's abilities and the platforming just to get out of bounds and head towards the Clock Town really early. So May is going to utilize her clone, whereas Cody's just going to climb up some of the architecture here on the side and utilize some chain slides to get towards the end. Really cool out of bounds route that we've been able to find here, but you got to be careful because in this area, especially that Damon and Cody are going through, if you fall down here, it's just like endless void and you have to restart. But utilizing the false slide there, all very well done, spawns them in. And then Argros will just make sure that the dolls are spawned in before hitting that button at the very end. And that can be done either way too. Whoever gets there first, as long as the dolls have been spawned in, they can go across and grab that. But now we're going to head into Clock Town, and there'll be some achievements and whatnot that we have to look for as we head through this section. So what are we looking for in Clock Town? We got a lot of stuff we got to do around here.
There is a lot. There is a lot to pay attention to here. So the movement here is very optimized, really, because you have to make sure that you progress the dolls to the end, because we need the checkpoint to be able to progress as well. And you'll see here, Argos went and picked up this minigame and is setting up for another clone, and is going to head back now to help progress the dolls again. And Damon also set up the boat to open...
Argos, hold up.
Are we disconnecting again?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
It's looking
very
scuffed.
Indeed.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, I was like, hold on, there's no shot that we're not disconnecting right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, another example of we see different things from different sides of the connection. So from his side, I have no idea how it looked, but I'm sure it looked quite sussy.
It did.
Very much so. I heard a hold up right as soon as you started just T-posing in the air.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but it is all fine.
Yeah,
It happens.
not too much.
Luckily, the mistakes in this game are only costly at about a minute or less of time loss, so that was only about 30 seconds. To a minute.
I mean, it still hurts, of course, but...
Indeed.
Yeah, so I'll head across, and so Argros is going to be setting up here. Obviously, they got to get the dolls to go along at the same time, so they're going to head up top here. Cody and May are going to work together to put out the fire that's going on in this poor villager's town. which will allow the barricade to be put up and continue moving on the dolls. But then also, we got the bomb run mini game that they're going for, as well as the achievement of riding in the boat, I believe. Or no, Cody's just going for a rest because Argros now has to go over. And the both of them are going to work together to put down the bridge. Then, once the bridge goes down, Argros is going to set up for the Hell Tower. So Argros, there's an achievement for getting to the top of the Hell Tower. So Argros is going to spawn it in, and you saw that Argros left a clone way up near the top. They're going to try this one again. Second time's the charm. They do that. They grab it, head across, and quickly ground pound on it again. And, falls down
Good
through.
job.
Nice! Let's go, Argros! That one's
That
difficult
way
too, because you have to ground pound on those buttons really quickly. So like it's intended to be done with your partner, and then you can platform and do this kind of challenge to get up to the top. But then Argros gets to the top and gets the achievement.
Achievement, yeah. I'm just picking up the mini game here, and then that's it. Because Damon got the achievement for entering the hidden room.
Is that the room with the Legend of Zelda reference in it?
Yes.
Indeed.
Ooh. Play this game and find out for yourself what that means.
Yes.
Oh, definitely play this game.
Yeah, even though we play 100%, we're definitely not showing even close to everything you can explore in this game.
Oh, I know.
There's so many cute interactions and Easter eggs that you can find everywhere along the game.
Yeah, this game, as far as a casual experience, is one of the best kind of like story games that I think I've ever played, and it got Game of the Year for a reason. It's a really well put together world, lots of cool stuff going on. So very excited to be able to show it off. Always honored to be a part of the crew. Oh, now we've got these giant metallic birds that we're going to ride on over to the left tower. And this tower is going to be on a global cycle. So we're going to launch in, and there's going to be a clock on the wall that's going to be going between one of 3 different colors. Whichever color that it's on will indicate what platform, as we see, is able to be physically stood upon. So due to the slide jumps and then double jumping and dashing out of the slide jump, we're able to get across early. Then we'll go. And we'll land. Oh my god. Stop giving me a heart attack like that. That's how I threw a second place run with bites once upon a time. Is that if you go early, you'll phase through that platform and you'll have to redo that section. Then you got to wait for it to be on cycle once again. But these guys are gamers. They know exactly when they can put their toes on that platform and be able to get onto the next thing. As I say that, the bird. I'm sorry. The commentator's cursed it.
Those toes were just not quite on it. Some would say.
Oh, they almost brought the bird with them. But yes, we leave all of the bombs that came out of the top of that other tower to go behind, and a puzzle, we say. Wait, guys, like we gotta go find the code, right? Like, there's no way this could be right. What? Yeah, the code's the same every time. There's another room off to the side where it'll show you the code, like casually in the playthrough. You'll write it down or whatever you want to do, or just try and remember it in your head. But it's the same every time, so we can slam that code down and head on back out. And we'll see here, May's going to use the bombs that spawn to shoot the shield generator on the far side, whereas Damon is going to do the one on the near side. They'll do it together, save a little bit of time, and now we get to bring the dolls inside the clock tower. May's going to set up for a early entry around that gate to be able to grab onto these side platforms that will open the door as the dolls have been brought up. And then we'll be inside. Well, that'll be it with Gates of Time. We'll be inside Clockworks. Such a cool chapter. So just visually appealing. It's definitely one of my favorite atmospheric chapters in the whole game. But
Oh yeah, same.
So this
And
place,
the abilities too.
this place is the only place where I have a voice cue that I would have used usually, or actually can use today as well. But I also have a visual cue, luckily, and everything else, the voice actually doesn't matter that we had the bit war for, and it's just the thing you can do for fun. But since it's German anyways, it literally didn't matter at all for me.
And another fun fact for some people that do use a voice line in just the couple other areas that you do, it's fun enough to note that, believe it or not, even though the voice lines are a little bit different, they're about the same in length, so you can use them for cues no matter which voice you're using, which is really cool.
The only problem is if you're actually looking out for a word and you just don't hear the word and you don't know where the word would be appearing usually.
Very, very cool. You know, because I think I obviously when the game came out, it just had the English dialogue, and I ran with that. But I've run the game with German, and I've seen people run it with Japanese as well too, which is really, really fun to listen to. So now that we're through that kind of an auto-scroller section, Lem, would you like to kind of walk us through what we're going to be seeing here?
Yeah, so if we pay attention to May's side of the screen right now, they put down a clone at the beginning, and they're going to be going to the end here to pick up one of the keys that they need. And you see again with the slide jumps, you can make it so far. And you don't have to go all the way back as long as you put the clone down, so you can just teleport back. Unfortunately, you can't do the same thing here for this side because you need the clone to be able to get the key. But then we'll just do some nice death warps to make it back faster.
Yeah, grab onto the key, and then go through, die, and then die again because it's the more optimal way to go. It'll spawn us right back here, throw the key in, spin it around, and then we get to activate this Sentinel. First, we'll spin him in the right direction, and then we'll activate the other one, which will allow him to put his key into the hole and open up this next section for us.
So an interesting thing here, when you compare this to any percent, Cody can just sit here and do nothing. This is a May carry section in any percent, because May can do some like out of bounds platforming and skip past this entire boss fight as well. And the boss fight here is pretty interesting because the way that you're progressing is that you have to stand on this thing to get the aggro off of the bull, and then make it like smash into the thing and make it fall down and stuff. And you can move in these cutscenes and stuff, so you'll see that the players like spawn in already all the way over where they need to be.
Yeah, for the last one we don't actually need to use the usual trigger.
Mm-hmm.
We can just lure him there and let the head fall on him anyways. Which is a tiny bit faster than usually using the intended way.
Mm-hmm. That little bird that they pulled on there is actually where you can get to out of bounds to skip that entire section of gathering the keys and then doing the bullfight and everything. But as they get to the top here, I think I'll take the chance to talk a little bit about the lore of this section, because coming up we'll have the elevator as well too, which might have a chance for a few moments of donations as well. But with this, the lore at this point is now, obviously we made it into the clock. The gimmick in this one and the mechanic in this one is that May has her stopwatch, which allows her to do clones, and Cody has his watch, which allows him to change time. Because May, her thing in real life is she doesn't feel like that she can be in multiple places at once. And so this is Dr. Hakim's way of giving her a way to showcase that and being able to be in multiple places at once. Whereas for Cody, which we'll see, Cody's not in the tower. Cody, where are you going? Yeah, no. There's a bit of a checkpoint at that door at the start where if you get past it and one person's inside, or you can do it with both people too, where they go past that checkpoint that it goes out to the sides of the door, it will trigger the elevator to go all the way up. And you only need to have one person inside, or you can have other people inside. And then for Cody, he feels like he doesn't have enough time. He feels like he doesn't have enough time to pursue his passions. And so that's why he gets the stopwatch to be able to control time. And then I definitely lied, because now that I've gone along with the lore, we're going to have fast ropes catching coming up very soon, which is going to be very hype, where these players have to race as quick as they can through a corridor with ropes hanging from levers. And it's on a global cycle, where if they get from one to the next, they're going to try and beat out this one arm at the very end that has a rope attached to it that will be on a cycle for a swing. And if they can get there, it'll be the fastest way they can do it, but they're going to be kind of racing to get there quick. So we'll see if they can get it first try here. We love fast ropes.
It's so cool.
Alrighty. Who's going to get there first? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fast Ropes here in the ITT 100% run at Multithon. Hope you've been enjoying us so far. These runners going to get across the first section. Very well done. Okay, here they come out of the second section. Our ropes are going to grab out of this one. May and Cody very well out of the cogwheel, and they'll get to the next section as well. They almost stumbled there so far. May ahead of the action right early on. They're going to rail cancel, get a little bit more momentum here. They're going to go for the second one. Cody surpasses, and Damon gets there first, but the boost off of the end. And May gets the door first.
Let's go.
If that didn't wake you up in the morning, I don't know what will. Tommy was banking on Argros, and then Argros got there. Let's go. But yeah, just a really cool example of how you can like run to the global cycles of the game. They get there super fast, and again, the ropes react a little bit weird there. We saw Damon get launched, whereas, well, I mean, they both got launched, but in separate different directions. And then May getting sent right to the end, right to that door to be able to grab out of the next section. So. And one of the most difficult boss fights in the game here, which we'll have a chance for some donations while this boss fight is going on.
All right. Well, I think Sam's on a really great idea here. Did you know that it only takes $2 to make a difference?
Yes,
Sam
sir.
donating $2 saying, yo, boys be gaming. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a new incentive and poll that has come up so we can do a bid war for Disneyland Adventures Steve TV sing-along. And I know I will already be doing this on my own, thankfully in quiet, not on host mic, because did you know that I'm gonna make a man out of you? Yeah, that's right. I'll make a man out of you from the hit Disney movie Mulan is one of the options for the sing-along. Also, to be part of your world from The Little Mermaid, option number 2, and to make you proud of your boy from Aladdin, which that's a really, really nice one. Beautiful song from the live musical version. So yeah, let's see if we can get a $2 donation train running. It only takes $2 to make a difference.
Help the dogs.
Amazing.
You always love the takes two jokes.
Oh my goodness. It didn't take Reggie long in the practice run as well, too, to be cracking jokes like that, too. And as soon as the first one came out of his mouth, I was like, I'm going to get along with this guy.
I've already been assimilated.
Indeed.
And if there is any other stuff you want to talk about quick, too, like we still got a little bit of time here with they're just going to be falling down this this shaft and waiting for a cutscene as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Multithon's inaugural event, and thanks to the overwhelming support from the community, we have been able to make it bigger and better than we've ever dreamed of. So huge thank you to everybody that is watching and donating, allowing for this event to take place, and we hope to be able to make this event a tradition that we can all look forward to for years to come.
Couldn't agree more.
Ooh, there we go. Lemura. I think they might be in this booth here, donating $2, saying it just takes 2.
It does take 2.
So every little bit does make a difference for Blue Path Service Dogs, folks. So if you are able to, please go ahead and try to get some of these donations in to get us closer to that stretch goal, which Sam donating another $2 saying, I guess I'll continue what I started. And that one Cloud donating $2 as well, saying, did I hear a $2 donation train? I think you did.
Argos get here too.
I just practice never matters.
Too early.
I just so I
You're all
practiced this
good.
yesterday, so can I finally get this again? Because this is very easy, but I just completely, I don't know, I lost it. You can hit 2 clocks at the same time with 1 bomb. It's supposed to be way easier with desync, and we have a lot of desync, so it's supposed to be really easy. And I'm just not doing it in the last past weeks, actually. And
One of the fun
was
facts.
like, okay, I need to practice this and get this, but yeah. I let Lem talk about this next thing here.
Damon, did you have something to say there? Fun fact?
Oh, it's fine.
We'll save it for later.
And
So, yeah, Lem, if you want to talk about this last section, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So you saw they're going to be hitting one of the platforms on the side here to set the spawn point on top of it. That way you avoid having to do a lot of the other platforming here. So you see Argos going here to touch that platform. And that should, hopefully, as long as you hit it correctly, it'll set your spawn point on the top of that. And it makes it so that you just don't have to do, all of the moving platforming here. Because Cody is controlling all of the platforms and moving them around. Yeah, here you see you spawn on top. Kind of just brings you straight to the end here.
Yeah.
Cool
Pretty
little
sure went too low on
optimization
all
of the
my
route.
failed attempts.
Well,
Also,
it's weird too with the camera how that spawns for you as well.
Indeed. Another weird thing there, for some reason, every time I RCP I get a different camera, and I need a certain camera to even be able to do it. And that is why I RCP'd so many times. Probably would have been faster to do a certain backup there. Indeed, I got it in the end.
Oh, and we finally made it to the end of the clock tower. Coming up, one of the penultimate, like the end-all be-all chapters in this game, Snow Globe. Whether it's any percent, 100% inbounds, there is something for everybody in this subject or this chapter of the game, and just really fun one. It was one of the first chapters that I ran a whole bunch. I know it's one that's gotten a lot of people into the game where they'll run Snow Globe as an IL, and then it's like the gateway into running the rest of the game. But lots of really cool tricks, lots of really cool things to showcase. And right off of the bat, they're going to stay inbounds and head over top of this door, utilizing the slide jump momentum to gain access over it. In any percent, they would have gone off to the left and climbed up a tree to get on some invisible barriers and head straight to the end of this first subchapter. But very beautiful in-sync movement here as they're going to get across the river. Whoever gets their first resets from checkpoint. And then some more cool synchronous movement here as they utilize the magnets, which are the mechanic of this section that we'll talk a little bit about as we go along. But again, sliding down, it'll do a chain slide up to the top of here. And they'll get across, and they love this chapter, folks. They're not going to miss that. They go across into here, utilize the magnets, utilizing a slide jump and the geometry to be able to get up top. Argros ahead right now, which is fine because there's a way that May can do this without Cody moving the thing around. Slide jump onto the ropes and use it to get up top, grab a checkpoint. And oh man, the movement is so crisp, it's so clean. They utilize the ropes coming across here. And again, they're going to use the rail cancels just to kind of keep the momentum here coming off the end. They'll grab onto the rope. Yes, they launch across. Argros just not quite getting enough of the momentum off it. And again, the rope launching him a little bit to the left there, which is a danger with that because it could be a little bit finicky based off of like where they go, but they just utilize the momentum they get for the rail cancel, chain it into the rope, and now they head across here. And then May is going to use the slide jump, get across over to the ice blocks here, and cause the bridges to come together, which gets another checkpoint and a cutscene that you can skip with the RCP. And then with the ice here, the same thing kind of applies to the jumps where if you just keep on jumping on the ice, you'll just build momentum and speed. And there's certain areas on this ice. Oh my God, they're going so fast. Oh, there we go. There's certain areas that the runners know will boost them a little bit more. Oh my God, Damon. Just absolutely flying. And who needs Disney on ice? We got Cody on ice. As these guys will head straight to the end here. As soon as they cross, they'll hit a checkpoint RCP, and then they'll use their halves of the magnets to open up this door and head on into Winter Village, which is widely considered one of the favorite sub-chapters in this game, because whether it's any percent, inbounds, 100%, doesn't matter what you run, it's got some really cool stuff here. Any percent would normally head off to the right, and again, try and utilize some out of bounds, whereas here, we got to activate this tower, get some checkpoints to get through the opening gate. So May is going to grab on and hold on for dear life as she tries to slide down. She'll activate that. They'll skip the cutscene, and they'll be right by the door here to open it up and head into the next section. So Lem, what are we gathering? What are we doing here in Winter Village 100%?
So one of the
oh, is he going to go for it? Is he going to get it all the way across? Oh, David!
Ooh.
Oh my God! Okay. So yeah, sorry, just quickly, I totally handed it off to you there, and then David decided to go gaming. If you jump off of the ice, and then you grab onto those rails, and you keep immediately jumping off of them and going to the next one, you carry the momentum from the ice and you get so much. Like, you grab onto it, and then we'll see Damon here going for it again. Are you going to get it twice in a row? Oh, never mind. You're going to the right. I was like, are you going to go for it twice in a row, you absolute madman? But no, Damon's just going to use that momentum to launch this poor lad into the stratosphere off of the swing to get an achievement. And then, yes, now, Lem, please tell us where we're going to go as I recover from the height.
So there is a lot of mini games to collect here, as well as different achievements. And one of the ways that you need to progress this sub-chapter, as well as activating the different towers. You saw they already picked up a mini game where May went out of bounds. And each of the mini games is like associated with a tower. So since they grabbed that mini game, they can minigame warp to it now instead of having to go to the top of the tower and activate that. So the just minigame warping there will activate that for us, which is very nice. Otherwise, yeah, they've grabbed achievements. They've grabbed the other mini games. You see here now, Cody's at the top here. May was waiting to be able to get into this cave where there's another mini game that we're gonna pick up real quick, and then yeah, followed up by the minigame warp.
So much cool stuff. And we love helping the turtles as well, too. As we minigame warp. It's going to take us to the Snow War one, I believe, isn't it?
Indeed.
Warming up the cutscene here.
Hey, did we
Or the RCP, I should say.
Yeah, my bad. I never saw the load disappear, felt like.
Yeah,
So,
you can do it so fast that you just like collect it immediately. Like, you don't have to do anything. You just go there and then restart from checkpoint, and then you're good to go. This one gives you the cutscene as you interact with it, and you can just skip or restart from checkpoint, and you end up at the top here.
It saves like a minute, and you literally only RCP.
As we see, Argros gets a lovely top hat. And we will head into the bobsleds, which the bobsleds typically somewhat of an auto-scroller, but in any percent and 100%, there is still the opportunity to go out of bounds a little bit with it. So we're going to see Argros attempt it here, where if you hit all the boost pads and then you just slam the bobsled left and right, you can try and get out of bounds on this upcoming stretch here, where Argos is going to start rocking the boat back and forth. Oh, come on! Get him out of there! Get him out of there! Please! Oh my god! Come on! Oh, oh my god! Argros, you've just been robbed. That is insane! I've never seen somebody get to rotate around that many times and not be sent out for out of bounds. Oh my god. Get him out of there, folks. Yeah, so if Argros was able to launch out of the tube there and be kind of stuck out of bounds, it would cause the final section of this bobsled run for Damon, who's still inbounds and running it. It would cause him to be able to just do that last section so much quicker because the game's not trying to rubber band the person behind you to catch up with you. So you just fly through it. I think it saves like, what, 5 seconds or something?
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Yeah, the hole in the ceiling that is trying to keep us in, like not the hole but the wall, has a tiny hole that you can hit, but it's very mostly luck based. We can get the circles around quite consistently, but yeah, getting out is just prey. And the game didn't want to give us give it to us.
We didn't pray to RNG very well. So as we head out of Winter Village, we escape. We now get into BTI Beneath the Ice, which is where a lot of good runs go to die, for there being a couple of difficult tricks here that we'll see very soon. So the players, they're going to separate for a little bit here, as we're going to see Argros heading off to the left to go towards the pirate ship to get an achievement where you grab the pirate hat and the chest on the top of it. And then Damon is going to go and feed the seals. See all these beautiful little cute seals. We're going to utilize the grapple gun here to grab a harpoon fish and feed the seal. And then right after that, we're going to go and grab the mini game of the ice race. And then as soon as that's done, now Damon's going to be going for the super difficult trip here. BTI wall climb. Shout out to Lovable Big Man for finding this. Can he get it first try? Oh my god!
Nice.
No!
He's gaming.
Damon is leaving it all out here for Multithon so far today. And then Argros too. Like, this isn't an easy out of bounds that he's doing right here. As he gets onto the top there, he's going to utilize the slide jump to head around. Gets the good angle on it here. And then nice slide jumps. Can he get up to the oob very quickly here? He's going to try and jump out of the water here. Oh, very well done by Argros as well, too, on the out of bounds.
You had one more? I thought you
Wait.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so they activate that one there. So then Argros can come in bounds, and then they'll grab onto this button here, which will activate the second portion of that. But yeah, so I think the reason why that's so crazy is that on that ice wall, there is a tiny, tiny little piece of collision that you can land on and get a jump reset to go up the rest of that wall. And it is infuriating at times to hit that, because sometimes you'll hit it and your character will just bounce off of the wall and go back down as opposed to getting the full jump reset. Sometimes you'll get the jump reset, but it won't give you enough height. And yeah, there's been many of people, like we found some like proxy launches into the air that will get you on top of that platform as well too, but none of them are nearly as quick as doing the BTI wall climb. So shout outs to Lovable Big Man for finding that trick and making us hate every second of it. Unless you're a gamer and you get it first try. That is wonderful to see.
It just feels so good to get it first try, though.
Indeed.
And then here with dealing with Lenny, as soon as the wrench touches the bolt, as soon as it latches on, you get a sound cue for it. And as soon as that sound cue goes off, you can reset from checkpoint, which takes you right to the end here, because we're trying to power up this lighthouse to get to the top and head on to the next section. And you need to do all these different things to get the checkpoints necessary to power the top of the lighthouse. But this isn't necessarily the case with some of the consoles, Lem.
Yeah, on what Hazelight classified as weak consoles, so anything that is not PS5, I suppose, you can basically you can get here to the lighthouse without doing any of the other things. And normally, if you interact with the top of it on PC, you void out, as we call it. Basically, all of the collision turns off and you're just falling and nothing happens. But if you do this on weaker consoles, so like the PS4 version of the game, for example, you actually load into the next level. And that's because of how it had to deal with memory and stuff. It didn't have enough to like load the next level at the same time, so it then just forces a loading screen on you. Yeah, that's the only like console difference.
It's funny, we've got some of our console runners in chat right now. They're like, yeah, console diff.
It is true. PC runners had known about it a long time before console ever thought of it. And then shoutouts to Carl for finding out that just climbing the tower on console turns out to work. Huge skip, making console unique.
But yeah, we move on into Slippery Slopes, where again we got to go the inbounds route here. Any percent would have gone out of bounds pretty much as soon as they got out of the chairlift off to the right. And again, similar to what we saw at the beginning of the chapter, where the players are just going to utilize jumping on the ice to conserve as much of their momentum as they can. And they just beautifully use the launch to skirt over the top of the ground. As Argos will grab out of the bottom here, and we'll see if they can get the swaggy rope tech here. They'll jump off. They're going to go across, grab onto it, launch themselves up. Oh, just barely. Just barely. So Damon's going to go for the Cody route underneath, grabbing onto the barrier there, because May has her magnet that she can use off to the right side to just propel her up. But then as whoever gets there first, they activate the RCP, and they'll bring everybody together. And then with this section, they're going to utilize a bit of a cut through here. They'll go just to the left of the snow fence. They'll be able to skip a bunch of the forward section here, because really the checkpoints that we gather here, I can't remember, is there any checkpoints in along this section, or is it more just towards the cabin at the end?
There was one down at the bottom that we collected here, and then there was the one that both needs to hit at the end of this section, like just before the cabin.
Yeah.
And we got the cabin skip that's going to be coming up. Would you like to kind of preface that for us, Lem?
Yeah, so you'll see here, like whenever they cancel off of these rails, they're getting ridiculous amount of speed, and that gets stored. So you'll see as they cancel off of here now, they just launch.
Oh, Damon gets
Oh,
where he
Damon
lands on top, though.
dreaming.
Ah,
Oh, oh, and then Argros just. Oh
I guess
no!
I take over the Jesus.
Argros.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
I didn't have enough speed.
They went for the glints. They went for glint, skip, skip, which avoids having to go through this section here. Goes off to the right, and then avoids this whole area from collapsing, which can be a little bit easier and more optimal to do. But yeah, essentially, so Damon hits that trick, gets forward, but then Argros ended up doing the death warp, which caused everything to explode a little bit early, which caused Damon's trajectory to be off, and Argros to then go ahead. I was like, man, if I'm not gonna be first, nobody can be first. No. But the runner's doing very well to recover from that. They're still moving and grooving all the way up to the top here. Utilize the magnets to grab onto the banners, and then they'll head into the last section of attraction here, which really the first chance that we get to see some really, really cool tech to do with the magnets called magnet hopping, where we can grab on. When you magnet to each other, you come together and you separate a little bit. But if you do that, I was gonna say you got to bring your partner with you.
my bad.
Oh, almost. Nice. There we go. We'll see here that if you grab onto your partner coming up after one of the gaps coming here, when you separate, you get your double jump back and you can kind of use it to cross gaps. So they'll grab there and then, oh, very well. They're able to use that to grab onto that. They'll grab a checkpoint here, and then they're going to head back to go for the out of bounds route that we would see similar to any percent. In inbounds, you would have to grab some more checkpoints going up the ski hill mountain. But they're just able to use the magnet hop to get up out of bounds off to the right, and they'll head straight towards the end because there's no checkpoints climbing up that initial hill. It's just towards the end here. But these magnets, I mean, this whole section of the game is all about attraction. I mean, that's what this last section is called. Hakeem is trying to rekindle these guys' kind of love and attraction for each other, and that's kind of the whole reason behind the mechanic of the magnets. Because symbolizing of this whole thing, as soon as the magnets touch at the end, it ends the chapter. And as far as the lore goes, that we're inside an actual snow globe, as you'll see right there. And that snow globe came from the ski resort where Cody proposed to May. Now, out of the cold and into the warm, into Garden, which we get to see a really cool trick off the beginning here, where Argros and Damon are going to grab onto there. They're going to use what's called a snuggle slide. Oh, first try for Argros. Very, very well done. Where if you start in a slide, like a standing slide, or just crouched, I should say. If you start crouched, jump out one way, dash back the other way, you'll land in a slide so that you can then immediately slide jump out of it. And they utilize that there to be able to do a slide jump off of that really, really tight space on the tip of that board to be able to get up out of bounds. And then essentially, it's just a scavenger hunt now. As we'll see, they're kind of doing these out of bounds movements that still gather checkpoints, similar to how we saw in Dungeon Crawler, where they were able to just touch the very edge of the map in order to be able to gather a checkpoint. Very similar here to how they're able to just kind of go around the edges of the map and gather checkpoints that would have been down below in the inbounds route. But both of these runners, one thing that they won't be able to skip is this poor boss here, the Burrower. As they'll have to come across and head inside, because Burrower is a bit annoying. It's got an unskippable cutscene at the start, but then as soon as we're done with the cutscene, we can just head on out to the next part. So
yeah, we're sadly getting the CP right after this cutscene and not tied to getting into this area.
do we have a quick donation or mention, Reggie?
Yeah, I do. We have Sam donating another $2.22, saying it takes 2.22 actually, and Zenadir donating $22.22, saying I heard Dono trains. So here's a bunch of twos for the Archipelago incentive. Stay amazing, y'all. Which that is now up to $134.22 out of 200. We're getting closer.
Super hype.
Yeah, that's thank you again for all the donations. This has been incredible so far. And the fact that this incentive was met to showcase this beautiful category of the game. And shout outs to everybody that's helped with routing this, like Lamura, Bites, friggin' Glint, everybody that's been a part of this. You
Big
too
Man,
as well.
Alien.
Yeah. Big Man and Alien, really the original pioneers of putting this run together. I remember the first time that they ran this in a full game it was like 3.5 to 4 hours or something.
You get your minigame.
Well, good reminder, good communication for the runners as they'll head back and grab onto this Garten Schockel minigame there. I actually can't remember what that one's called in English too. A lot of these minigames I haven't seen before until I've been practicing for this with you guys, so I only know the German names. But yeah, welcome to Weed Whacking. So there's a bit of a differentiation here as well too. Would you like to tell us about how this this subchapter, because it's very different depending on which category you're running, Lem?
So any percent here would already have deviated. Like they would go out of bounds at the beginning and kind of just beeline it straight to the last checkpoint that you're able to get to be able to progress the game. And for both inbounds and 100%, we just have to like follow the entire inbounds path pretty much to get all of the checkpoints that we need and stuff. And you'll see, we do get to see some more of the combat in this area too, because in this chapter, May is able, has like a scythe and can do like fast attacks with that, as well as a water hose. Cody has like a plant on his head that he can shoot at things, and also be able to turn into plants at specific spots. So we'll see that a lot throughout here.
So we're in the second last major chapter of this game, and the last two chapters of this game really showcase the different characters' passions. So first in Garden, we get showcased Cody's passion for gardening, which is, as you mentioned, one of those things back in Clock that he didn't have time for. Also, like, slight arachnophobia warning here. If you don't like spiders, then maybe look away for a little bit. But on the flip side of that, look at them, they're so cute. We're gonna like see one of the spiders when we free him or her from the or it, I should say, from the jar here. Look at them, they're so cute. But yeah, one of the I know, they're so cute. But yeah, so slight arachnophobia warning if you don't like spiders, then look away for a little bit. But yeah, essentially just a casual section of the game where they get to play through and ride the spiders through these intended routes and work their way towards the end. So I'm actually curious, how did you two start running together for the first time?
You want to talk about it, Argros?
I can. So the nice thing is, so Damon started on console, on Xbox. He played with a friend. His friend kind of stopped playing, so he also wanted to play PC because PC has a load remover and therefore is way more competitive. And yeah, he changed over to PC, played with people. People didn't really want to stay and play for like more times. Then he put down a resume. How's it called again?
Yeah, like we have a looking for partner in the Discord, and I decided I'll just throw a resume in there. A non-traditional thing that people typically don't do when asking, hey, do you want to play a game? Instead, putting a full resume up.
Indeed. I didn't really care too much because I was an inbound runner and he wanted to play any percent. But like a day or two later, he was on a call with like Glint, current world record holder at the time. I was like, yeah, why not? I just join. Have a fun time. We talked a lot, and at some point he was like, I started with inbounds. Let's just do a little bit of chat inbounds. And yeah, from there we started playing, so...
From there on, it's history, baby.
Indeed.
Now two of the
We
best
have
runners the game's ever seen. Yeah, go ahead, Reggie.
a little bit of time here with spiders, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you got some time.
Yeah.
All right. So we have, they talked about, what is the joy coming up later. This would be a great time to queue up a couple of these, Scala Kitty has donated $20, and we've got something special for this one. I think you can guess which bid war option this went to. Let's get down to business to raise some funds. It is good for doggos and goes to Blue Path. It is Multithon weekend and you can bet before we're through. Somehow we'll make runners out of you.
Yes, Reggie!
Nice.
Yes, Reggie!
So if you queue up a couple of those from our donation options, I'm far less familiar with Proud of Your Boy from Aladdin. I literally know the opening tag. But if you throw some of those in there, I will sing your donations if you can come up with some clever lines.
That just made my day. Now, shout outs to everybody behind the scenes making this marathon possible. I've been watching along, and for a first time, this is an incredible event and going to a wonderful cause, and there's a lot of great people that are involved with this, so very honored to be a part of the first rendition of this marathon.
Couldn't agree anymore.
Exactly.
So as we get some FPS here from Cody.
With some Plants vs Zombie gameplay here.
Oh, true. We all know what the best character in that game is. Cody getting out of his plant there and able to open up the corruption bulb here for May to scythe through. That's kind of the general theme that we'll go through in this chapter is the garden has been taken over by the corruption because Cody never had the time to properly care for it. And so now we're going through and working together to try and nurse the garden back to health. And we're going to head into trespassing, which lots of kind of cool differences between 100% / inbounds and any percent is coming up here. We would see the runners head up out of bounds and be able to kind of work their way towards the end. But here they're going to have to stay inbounds. And oh my goodness, we just got a look inside the face of Cody there briefly on May's side of the screen. They're going to run into the wall here to activate it so that they can end up just walking through here as they will.
That was not saving time there.
Yeah, small time saves that could potentially lose time. What else is new in a speed run? But a very set run here and a very cool route here for Argros, as the sound meter is a little bit forgiving in some instances, but as we see here, the moles are sleeping, so we have to be quiet. So Argros is going to go through this section. Obviously, we saw they had the route there at the beginning where it's very set because they know how much it's going to take off for the moles at the very beginning. But you can see every time they touch the little crunchy bits and they go around the moles, it's going to make them be closer to waking up. Shh.
You're gonna wake the moles.
I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got to talk quietly. Because I want to explain all this cool movement tickets going on, but I don't want to wake up the moles. So we feed the thirsty plant, and then we go through, we get the RCB, and we get to the next section. And make sure in chat that you're quiet as well, too. Only lowercase, no capital letters in chat right now. And we head through. We're gonna...
No, we just block them all. We don't care.
Yeah, we just ground pound on the mole. We're gonna wake it up. We don't care. But we use that to get forward enough to grab onto an RCP. That will allow us to get past that section, which will bring Cody forward with us now. So Cody can become grass as he's been becoming a bunch of different plants throughout this whole level, which quiets the area down low. Maze is going to burst on ahead, and then they'll head on through here, grab some more checkpoints to move around to the final corruption bulb here within this trespassing section. As they'll break this through, but then, everything's falling apart. And now we get like an Indiana Jones boulder chase section, or... It's also like very Crash Bandicoot. I know there's an iconic section in Crash Bandicoot that does this as well too. Gotta run away from the moles. And the interesting thing about any percent too is that we would actually be above this right now in any percent and platforming our way along this tunnel section using different slide jumps and movement tech up top in order to kind of not have to deal with all of this section, as the moles are just gonna careen their way through all of the crystals and chase destroyed the corruption bulb. It all went down the drain. this mole comes. Gonna get stuck. Poor dude. Which I believe, is that the one that we see in any percent when you see the mole butt wiggling out from behind? I
I'm
wonder.
exactly
pretty
sure.
Not. I'm pretty sure it's just one of the normal moles while you go through the silent section.
Okay.
But maybe not. I don't exactly know.
Cool little
I
piece
don't
of tech.
think anybody ever looked into it there.
No, fair enough. As we'll see, a cool piece of tech here called the ground pound cancel, where in this game, if you go to initiate a ground pound, your character will kind of do a little bit of an animation and then drop straight down. If you initiate the ground pound by hitting crouch in midair and then you hit jump immediately after it, you will kind of cancel that animation and just instantly drop down, which saves a little bit of time if you're doing it consistently like that. So pretty sure they both hit all of them, which was really cool to see. And you know, it's not a Gnelf. Yep, nobody
I just wanted to say, we
remembered. It's not a Gnelf. It's not a Gnoblin. It's a Gnome.
And you've been gnomed. Alright, look, no, we didn't practice, but we try. Our soul was there. Our heart was in it.
So originally, I was just gonna say it. They were like, "Hey, what would happen if we all took a part of it?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that sounds awesome." Should have known better. Oh my god. Yeah, welcome into Frog Pond. And a bit of a differentiation in the routes as well already here. So, Lem, talk to us a little bit about Frog Pond.
Yeah, so a definitely very unintended mechanic here in this level is that the frogs can actually fly. There is a specific invisible geometry at the beginning of the level that you can like go up against, and then the frog just like flies up against it. And that's the any percent route. You go up out of bounds because the invisible walls here are very, very tall. But then you just like head to the minigame at the end of this level, and minigame work there. For inbounds and 100% though, we are following this normal path. And a lot of the checkpoints here, you have to make sure that you don't miss them because there's a lot of them in a row. And these are very finicky at times, so as long as they make sure to get all of them, they are good. Now you see up here as well. Normally you'd have to like go through the main portion of this.
You're not supposed to RCP, but
Well,
we'll do it casually.
They are doing it now.
Oh well.
My bad.
Well.
Yeah, normally there is this like vine that you can climb and just get to the top of the fountain. That's usually what you would do.
I didn't know that I can die that easily. Is that the right place?
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
we're usually not doing this section. And not a
Yeah.
single category.
It's my bad. I won't lie to you. There was a thing I did a day ago or two, and I may have built some bad muscle memory right there for the wrong reasons, and I apologize.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good.
It is A-okay. We still get to different means to the same end. But
Usually
they get to be... Sorry, go ahead.
Usually we would climb up a vine that is just not killing us, and we're happy with it.
I promise that Vine is cool, and if you really want to see it, look up the world record on speedrun.com. Because it is worth seeing. Just another example of how, Hazelight just puts collision everywhere and just allows us to use it for all sorts of stuff that's cool.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So they'll grab onto some more rails and head on out as we see the corruption kind of melting away as we head towards this final coming up section. And we'll head through, and again, another example where both players are needed for the thing to progress. So they'll reset from a checkpoint, which will set up the next area here where we're going to see them head back and grab the snail race minigame, which this would be in any percent what you would go for with the flying frogs. You'd launch out of bounds and you'd go right for that minigame so that you can minigame warp to that to take you to this section here. So Cody's going to become a mushroom, launch May up, and then due to the slide jump tech, May only needs... There's a backup where you can water 2 of the flowers at once to be able to give Cody the path up. But if you do the slide jump tech as well too, you can even just use the singular right lily pads there to climb up, but very well done by both sides as they're going to get into our final section here.
True.
And
There's
as we
need
have
to communicate.
just slamming.
Yeah, just slap the
leaf into
ground.
ground. So as we get the checkpoints associated with fighting these mobs down on the bottom, in any percent as well too, there's kind of an out of bounds, like a quick grab of the rail, similar to how we saw a wall clip earlier, where in this game, the range on grabbing rails and stuff like that is pretty long. And so in any percent, you can kind of grab onto a shovel that allows you to rail grind up to the top levels where you only end up having to do the flower beds up top as opposed to having to grab the stuff down here first before you can go up top. But to the checkpoints. We go through here and we'll see it there where they just grab onto the top very quickly. And now an optimized routing here of the flower bed where May will water up one side and back down the other, as Cody will follow along in his flower form, repopulate the garden bed, and as soon as they get up one side and down the other, it spawns in our bad guys. Good early grab here. Oh, it is possible to one cycle those guys as well, but it is pretty crazy if you're able to do that.
You want to describe how that works, then?
How you one cycle it?
Yeah, how does the scythe work?
So the scythe has like the variable attack speed. I'm not sure if there's a way to make it like always consistent, but whenever you do attack with the scythe, I think it was the dash input as well. There was some other input that you did.
The dash.
That lets you like go through the attacks faster, at least more consistent. But like sometimes, she just decides to take a bit of time before actually landing the attack. Sadly,
it's very
but yeah, no.
Basically just luck if it works or not. And yeah, best you can do is spam dash and attack at the same time as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, so you saw they both hit the bulbs there, and you saw the cutscene trying to pop in on the side, because they're both happening at the same time right now, so you don't have to watch them both through. Just the one, and puts us back down here.
Oh, which takes us in to Joy Fight, which in some respects is quite devoid of joy, which is pretty ironic, because as speedrunners, we have tried to come up with a way to skip sections of this boss, but shoutouts to the Hazelight devs that worked on this section of the game, because this thing is bulletproof. Maybe someday.
We've tried so many things.
We've tried getting out of bounds. We've tried so many different things. We've tried getting up top to fight Joy early, up on that top ledge, but just not able to find a way yet. Maybe someday. There are a few little minor optimizations with this section as far as like positioning where you need to be, because the little acid spitter guys are always going to come out of the ground in the same places at the same time. And so being in the right spot to be able to take them down. And then definitely not super easy, even just playing through this, I guess, in the fast casual sense for this fight, because when May is having to water the ground so that Cody isn't getting damaged by the acid, there is a lot of ads on May at that point in time. So being able to take the aggro while still watering the ground is no small task for the May runner in this section as well.
Yeah. And every hit that goes on one of these ads that isn't going on the corruption spitting things, it's just time loss. So I need to take the aggro but still stay alive and water everything.
So yeah, we got a little bit of time here. You have any donations, Reggie?
Before that, I actually want to mention, since I asked yesterday, I'm pretty sure, we have for this section and a couple other sections, we have bounties in ITT community. If you find a skip for these, you'll make a little bit of money. Nothing too crazy, but we really want to skip these like bowing out a scroller so we literally can't do anything. Yeah, take it away, Reggie.
Alrighty. Let's do a little bit of a donation incentive update here. We are currently sitting at $2,187.44 of our 3,000 stretch goal for the entire marathon weekend. Currently, that brand new Disneyland Adventures Steve TV sing-along overwhelmingly is in support of I'll Make a Man Out of You. So in case my rendition of it was not enough for you, that's currently in the lead. But you can change that part of your world from The Little Mermaid, trailing in second, and Proud of Your Boy from Aladdin in third place there. The Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Zeromus sprite is really close now. Sci-Fi has taken the lead at $22.22, with Fantasy sitting at $20. And the Free Enterprise Harp song incentive is still overwhelmingly in Fantasy's favor, but any sci-fi lovers get some goals in to see that. So I would like to take this moment, though. Go ahead and go over here. And I would like to introduce everybody to somebody. If you're on PC, chat, I want you to click that link.
Oh.
I would like to introduce you to Parker. Parker is an adorable little golden retriever puppy from Blue Path on his way to go help somebody. Chat, we could name a Parker. He's adorable. He's precious. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. And we could be a part of that. We are pretty darn close. And here we go. We've got one of those Archipelago runners. Hop Up donating $20, just making sure we get those increased difficulty settings and the special incentive that I myself will be doing. And that is immediately followed by Naya donating $10, saying, Happy Day 3, good luck to all of the runners. And that brings us up to $154.22 of our $200 donation goal for the Archipelago increased difficulty settings incentive. Folks, we have just under half an hour left to meet that incentive. Those YAMLs do need to cook in the oven before they are ready to be sent out into the world. So get them in, get them in, get them in.
That is so precious. Yeah. That we weren't at any risk of disconnecting during that section, despite Cody looking probably the most sus that he's looked in the entire run, with kind of clipping around, but that's just client side things. Because throughout this game, Cody's been hosting, and predominantly Cody will be hosting in any time that the game is being run, just because there are certain things. You know what? Lem, you explain this, because I feel like you do a better job of explaining it than I will. The Cody host side.
Sure. The very first trick that we do in the run, for example, the fuse glitch, as long as like the one doing it is going to be Cody, because of the faster pickup animation that Cody has, and it's just more consistent whenever Cody is host. There are like some other things throughout the run too.
Mentioned and captured with the wasp fight.
Yeah, that
where
one.
May wants to be client so that May can stay in the safe spot. If Cody stays in the safe spot, it is useless because Cody can't hit the back to give it up.
Don't
May can actually still hit the back.
Like, I know you're talking, Argros. Don't mess up.
That's why I heard him start talking. I'm like, don't RCP, don't RCP, don't RCP.
All right. Yeah, and for those of you that aren't in on what happens if you RCP, it'll make us redo the whole last phase. So
we usually you get the habit of RCPing there because we did RCP for all of the ones before, all of the ones we destroyed in the boss fight. Yeah, getting that habit to RCP there and just lose like multiple minutes is just easy.
And now we're in the final chapter of the game. We're into Attic. And so we've gone from Cody's passion to May's. So May has a huge passion for singing and for music. And so the mechanic in this one that we're introduced to is that Cody gets his little Captain America shield in the symbol that he carries on his back. And then May has the power to use her voice. Interesting chapter, though, too, because it features the only chapter in the game that has a hub world. And so you start out in this area, and then as you progress through the chapter, you end up coming back to the same area. And so in any percent, we actually, oh my God, beautiful chain slide across the gap there. Good job by the runners. We are able to skip entirely 2 different chapters of this game, which I mean, technically 3, because we skipped this entire portion of, oh goodness, what is this first one called?
Rehearsal.
Rehearsal.
This is rehearsal, yeah.
This is rehearsal already? Yeah, so we skip rehearsal and symphony entirely. And then we also skip, I thought there was a third. Don't you start in one and then go right to turn up?
Yeah, the hub world. I mean, you skip having to move to rehearsal and symphony in the hub world, right? Because you just go to the turn up minigame.
Oh, right. I'm thinking, yeah, because the first one is called rehearsal, even though you start in the hub world. I was thinking that.
Because you start.
No, it's called setting the stage. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
setting
skip
the
rehearsal and. Okay, there we go. I was trying to think of what that first one was called, but it's called setting the stage. I gotcha.
Yeah, setting the stage is where the place where we immediately skip to the 4th subchapter in any percent, but in 100% we need to get CPs, minigames, achievements, everything. We can't
Really
do
convenient for the devs to put all the mini games that would pertain to any chapter at the start level of the final chapter of the game, allowing any percent to do the first and only major sequence break of chapters. Or sub-chapters, my apologies.
Yeah.
Oh, second time's a charm. Nice. but for inbounds and 100%, really we get to showcase the full beauty of this chapter as well too, because as much as Clock is a very visually appealing and beautiful chapter, Attic is also wonderful with the different references and mini games and just the world that they've built. So Cody utilizing the slide jump to be able to get up on the left side of the map there to skip having to do some kind of cooperative gaming in the middle. And
I just want
your voice. Yeah, go ahead, Damon.
I just want to apologize for Lim and Glint for not showing off their really cool tech that they had in that last area. May's actually able to go oob to get to this part quicker from the proceeding room. But our inbounds habits, taking over Superior and deciding we know better. We'll do it our way. No, we just forgot. But there is a really cool skip back there that Lim himself had helped find with Glint.
I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, if you're way more consistent with one thing, then, you might as well stick with that. Because, like, if you lose more time in general going for the technically faster strat, it's like,
almost.
Does it matter in the end? Like, as long as you make it through, right?
Indeed.
Ooh, let's go. They used a really cool, again, just the timing that they have to work together there to get the rotating platforms, because Cody is controlling them with his little switchboard there, able to control those and get people to go across. And desync also does play a role in that as well too, so it could be very difficult.
It looks completely scuffed on his screen, which you don't see, but for him, he can't really see what's going on, and he's just praying he does the right things.
So now here, May is going to jump on top of that snake and be able to utilize it to get early. Oh, no! Oh my God.
May's got fancy feet.
How did he not munch on you there? Holy Dynas.
Yeah, skipping, not killing that first one doesn't spawn the other snakes there. So you can just like go to the end here and get this checkpoint without having to kill the others.
But now here we'll utilize May taming the snakes with her voice, and then she'll be able to head across here and make sure that she has just enough of her voice in order to be able to keep them back. And sometimes just a little bit of using the voice is just enough, as she'll get to the checkpoint RCP, bring Cody along for the ride. And then able to kind of 180 quick scope that snake and then grab onto the next piece here. But uh-oh.
My bad.
Yeah, it's a big snake.
Yeah.
Big
Lem?
old snake. Lim, do you want to explain a little bit of the difference between this and 100%? Or inbounds and 100%?
Yeah, so in this section, you have this whole area that you have to like go through and get the checkpoints and stuff. In inbounds, there is a specific spot that you are able to just like jump off of the side and grab the lower spawn point. And yeah, just move on. So you skip this whole section, for example. But like, it's not too much of a difference, right? And it's cool to look at anyway. So
Yeah, getting to experience the chase only in 100%. Really nice sometimes to just get to see everything that Hazelight put in the game,
Yeah,
animation-wise.
This is the place where we would get with the skip, where we just go off screen. How we would have also done in the UFO, but we need to get some CPs.
I'm still sad. I'm still sad about that. I was like, wait, no, it's 100%. No. Okay.
Okay.
Was war das? Schnell, Cody!
Oh. So what are we watching? Sorry. Oh, the one inside. Yeah.
Just so you know, in the future, I can also share my screen. Our screens are literally the same gameplay. Not really a place to do that right now, but just so you know, in the future.
Because I can't. It's not allowing me to access the messages within Live 1.
yeah.
Just says
I'll
they're
send it
failing
to you.
load.
Failed to load.
Thank you. Let's go. We got this. I'm sure that whatever they're doing is fantastic and looking schmovy right now.
So currently we're in a section where I am moving these lights, and Damon is moving Cody through this. This can be really rough because I'm actually moving his camera, and therefore I like make his movement look a little different every time. So I need to make sure that my light is in the same spot every time, so he gets the same things and can play with it.
Indeed. Beautiful desync there too, sometimes not allowing the lights to look like they're quite on me, even if on his screen he's doing everything he can.
Indeed.
So, because I'm looking at a stream that shows something that they did like probably a minute or two ago.
Yeah, Damon, just tap out right now. Do it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, mit sowas hab ich gespielt, als ich klein war. Ach ja? Dann zeig, was du drauf hast. Versuch es auch mal. Es macht Spaß, zusammen Musik zu machen. Alles klar. Gib mir einen Hit, yo. Das klingt ziemlich gut, Cody.
Okay, having a look here.
Oder vielleicht kennt ihr
My apologies.
No, no worries at all, dude. Thank you for getting it up. So Damon's stream is live now. Hopefully that will help.
Okay, we're in Symphony.
Yeah. Ooh, and we get. Are they also gonna get to see the splits now too? Because I see it on Damon's stream.
Cody?
Yeah. So yeah, now we're in Symphony. Hopefully everything's a little bit more synced up. Thank you everybody for bearing with us for a little bit. And again, thank you to all of the tech crew behind the scenes for the run of making sure that things look as best as possible and trying to get this all to you. Because, I mean, at least from all the stuff that I've heard about with talking to people that help run marathons, it's not an easy task to make this all go off. So shout outs to the techs and everybody for working overtime behind the scenes to make sure this looks all correct.
Absolutely.
So, and real fast here, Kiwi has donated $4.78, saying it takes 222,222, which brings our current raised total to $2,222.22. We are getting ever closer.
That's
An
awesome.
epic moment of donations for this stream. Absolutely amazing. And that archipelago run is just barely under 15 minutes from starting at $159 of $200 required. So we are $31 from getting some steamed YAMLs.
Love steamed YAMLs.
They're just the best. Cover them in butter and salt.
All right, Lem, do you want to explain a little bit
yeah.
about what we're doing here?
Some cool tech here, then they were able to pull it off.
Let's go!
When you do in this, when you first interact with one of these bubbles, normally it like locks you into a cutscene and it's like, oh hey, this did this thing, so you should collect these to open the door. But you're still able to move in it if you like go into the first bubble with like the ability that makes you loop back on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Argros. It's all good. So Argros is going a little bit early,
Indeed.
causing us to have to redo this line.
Yeah. So,
That was A-OK.
Now, Argos decide. Yeah. Just a little bit of on the fly kind of needing to route.
indeed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Why did we RCP again?
Wait, did you?
Could have now just straight went there, but it's all good.
Stick with the
At least it-
intended thing everybody usually is gonna see.
Yeah,
we
indeed.
we
This is
finish,
what
we
you usually see.
RCP,
I would have wanted
come
to
over
do
here.
a little different route that would have been a little faster because I did the mistake before, but this is definitely what you would usually see now.
Yeah,
So
now
yeah,
we're
talk
gonna
about these demons.
chase down some demons and go after some keys. What are we doing here, Lem?
Yeah, so when you enter these areas, there are these demons that you find, and they have keys on them that lets you free the orchestra, I think it is. And the keys always spawn on the same demon, and so if you enter the room, you know where they are, and you can kind of just like beeline for them and get it fast. You know, if they avoid you, it's suddenly this whole chase trying to get them. And in here too, we're gonna be releasing the demons actually by making these clouds cry to like reveal the floor for us, and we can open up for the demons to come out. And it's the first demon that has the key on it, and so you're able to interact and like get the key immediately instead of having to chase them around as well.
Symphony. It can be a little bit hectic if you don't get it off of the.
You didn't get the stuff.
That is true.
So is that a?
Yeah, so we now
chapter?
missed 2 minigames. Oh, not 2 minigames, 1 minigame and 1 achievement. Yeah. There isn't really much we can do now because we would need to chapter select back to Symphony and do the entire Symphony again because that was literally the very end we were supposed to get that.
I mean,
We can show it off, we're
And we're
definitely into
fine.
it later. But yeah,
That's-
definitely
Unfortunately,
isn't
it
allowed
just
to
would have
use the
taken a little
runs.
bit of back routing. Like whenever we finished the two things, we could have grabbed them at any point. So the run would still continue as is. We just would have grabbed too many games.
Yeah, we just got really unlucky, both.
the momentum both got
Yeah.
stopped there. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That good initial first jump there as they're able to they're not even really clipping through anything. It's just a black texture there that causes it so that the whole area is not visually seen right off of the bat, just to make sure there's no confusion if you're casually sliding and playing through this Rainbow Road section. But you know, I mean, like technically at this point, without having the mini games and whatnot, like the run wouldn't be valid. But in the spirit of the marathon, we're showcasing the run and the route in the game, and so it's not a big deal. It's
It's fine.
Yeah, we weren't going to PB anyway. So for chat, yeah, maybe Sag, you know, but it's all right.
Yeah, we can just go back.
Just a
to the
tiny
death menu
detail.
later.
oh,
Show
good
it.
job, Argros. Nice job. You're able to carry that momentum off of the ramp going down. Again, you continue to jump and slide. You'll go through. These players will do the death warp to get on top of the
And there was something
disco
tricky
ball
there
here.
with the CPs. You want to explain kind of how that road works in 100% compared to other categories, Lem?
There was a checkpoint at the end of the slide that both players have to hit to be able to get to the checkpoint, and then there is another one inside the room there, but only one person needs to get them. So
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, they have to do the disco ball here because there's the checkpoint at the start of this that you need to collect. I think there's one at the end of it as well.
Indeed. Main thing is that Rainbow Road is really, really hard to do really well. 8% inbounds can just, yeah, one player needs to make it. 100%, both players need to make it to get the CP, and if you get the CP behind it already, you can't really do the RCP, like the reset to checkpoint, to teleport, because you got the other one before and you would actually port backwards.
There's actually a illegal trick that you can do in Rainbow Road, which is part of the reason why we created an unrestricted category for the game too.
Indeed. Just have it like way too much FPS, and you'll go flying.
Yeah, similar to what we talked about earlier with the turning the FPS down, making some things easier to do, turning the FPS up. If you've got a beast of a machine and you can push out hundreds of FPS in this game, which like some rigs can do that. There's a couple of people in the community we've seen push this game to its limits. You can do some pretty crazy launches, and there's also some May Scythe tech that's dependent on having high FPS as well too, that you can get around and trespassing in a few areas pretty quickly, which is cool to see. But yeah, we've now made it to turn up. Well, I mean, we've been in turn up, but we've made it to the club. And although we had some tech issues, we had the minigame be missed, so we've gone from crying in the club to dancing in the club because we got some DDR to play and some games to play beforehand. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this as well too. We turned the FPS down because some of these games are dependent on FPS and on sensitivity. So, you want to talk to us about some of the different games here, Lem?
Yeah, so the ones that are definitely affected by like sensitivity and stuff is the one in the top left and the bottom right. And yeah, the reason for turning down the FPS again is the same as like we did at the very beginning of the run with the vacuum boss fight. Again, just being able to interact with things faster and it progressing a lot faster. So like the one in the bottom left, for example, you only need to interact with once. Compared to if you have higher FPS, then you have to interact with it multiple times, right? So it's one of those things. It's a nice and simple thing to do to save some time.
So we completed the DDR section, and they'll end up going back to 120 FPS coming up after the tunnel section before we get into the final subchapter of this game. It's been a long road up to this point, but coming up is going to be the grand finale. And yeah, grand finale is going to have some pretty interesting tech in it that in any percent and in any percent really only May will end up using it, but in 100% and in inbounds, unless I'm completely incorrect.
You'll be shocked.
Yeah, 100% is the same as any percent in Grand Finale because there was only one checkpoint.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, so Cody doesn't need to do anything. It's just May. And if you play this game casually before, Grand Finale is pretty much just a walk. But you'll see something a bit different.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a little bit. See, I didn't realize that. I thought there was a checkpoint associated to what Cody did. But if there's not, oh boy, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, there are dev checkpoints there, but nothing that you obtain in normal gameplay.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the last waiting of the run. A little bit of calm down before the grand finale that will be also very intense for me. It's a very hard trick that you really need to practice a lot and master. But yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Lem, take it away. What are we doing here? What's Argros going to be up to?
So after this cutscene now, what's going to happen is that we're going to be spawning in the air. The moment that you're on the ground, you're locked to walking. But the brief time that we're still airborne, we're able to dash out of it. And with some well-timed jumps and dashes and stuff, you're able to keep everything going. This is looking wild on our screen. But
yeah.
I was going to say, I forgot because now that we're watching Cody's perspective, May looks crazy at the beginning there. Whereas if you're watching from May's perspective, you'll get to see it like this from the whole thing. But you're able to just string dashes and jumps together on a small walk of shame at the end. That's okay.
Well, Argros did a good backup there of like falling off the edge to be able to get the jumps and dashes back to be able to get over.
Indeed. I almost got like the most cracked line. I started off getting it, was like holy shit, and then because of that.
Time
What's
is
the
coming
lore?
up.
An input and a drop input is
coming up when they kiss.
Indeed. When the lips touch each other, time will be coming.
And time.
Nice.
Woo! We've done it. We've made it all the way to the end. We've collaborated and come back together. And now Cody and May back together, happy and healthy again. Dr. Keem has brought them together as we see this beautiful ending cutscene. I love this cutscene. It's fantastic.
It is
But
beautiful.
we got one last thing that we want to showcase for you fine folks. And again, thank you very much for having us out. It's been an honor to be a part of this initial run of the Multithon Marathon and to be able to showcase this game and be able to truly show off this beautiful world that Haze Lake created and allowed us to destroy. So we'll go back up to 120 FPS. And
Absolutely, I would love to. So, Blue Path provides autism service dogs offering safety, companionship, and opportunities for independence. Blue Path's expertly trained autism service dogs are provided free of charge. They improve safety and provide families with the freedom to unlock life's potential. Each Blue Path dog comes with thousands of hours of training from dedicated volunteers and professional staff. The cost to prepare these incredible dogs is upwards of $40,000. Yet, thanks to the ongoing generosity of supporters, both service dogs and ongoing follow-up support are provided free of charge.
And as you may be able to tell, we are not artists.
Yeah, indeed, not artists.
I was like, man, when you guys showed this off in practice, it was beautiful.
I promise we went over it, but nonetheless, the thought that counts, right? Everybody, you know.
One last
Oh my.
stroke of the brush here.
Okay, there we go. We get it up.
Let's
I
go.
think it really is a hard dog life for us
Yeah,
out
indeed.
here.
What a way. Argros,
Yeah.
would you like to say any last words?
Yeah, and while we do that, I think I'll teleport us to the achievement minigame we missed sadly. But yeah, some shoutouts. Thank you all at like Multithon to have us, and also like ITT, the devs of Deathlight, to make this game. Everything about this has been a pleasure being here. And yeah, we're getting this one minigame and sitting down for that achievement. That is all we needed to do, and we missed it. But yeah, going on, I really appreciate my family, as I'm still 17 and going to school and do some other things. Even make me able to play this game as much as I do, hold every world record, and give me the time I want with everything I want. So, yeah. If you wanna find me, actually no, I forgot one thing. Speedrun community. This community is beautiful. It's great. There's nobody that you would ever not like. It's just beautiful, welcoming community. If you have any questions, you ask a question, there's immediately somebody there to answer it. We have a Find Partner channel for people to find partners. It's always beautiful to hang out with everyone out of the community. Like, we ourselves aren't just playing together, we are playing with everybody in the community every now and then. It's beautiful. And yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me on the YouTube at Argros, YouTube/@Argros, youtube.com. And that's basically it for me. You know, let's have a little bit more. But yeah, I'll give it over to Damon.
Yeah, and I'll quickly just thank Hazelight Studios for just making this amazing game that we're able to showcase to you guys and enjoy every day. The Marathon and everybody involved for having us be a part of this wonderful experience to be able to fundraise for a great charity. The host, the commentary, and my partner for making all of this possible for you and for me. I enjoyed the experience, as I hope all of you did as well. Shoutouts to the It Takes Two Discord for its amazing community and resources. If you're interested in just wanting to learn more about ITT speedrunning, get a part of it, or just come and hang out and talk ITT, feel free to join the Discord. If you're interested in any more ITT content or any other speedrunning content, you can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Daemonweave. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the run. Till next time.
Before that, we forgot about Lemon. Lemon.
Yeah, Lemon, Glenn, or Lemon Yan, do you want to say any last words, final thoughts?
just incredibly honored that you guys asked me to be a part of this. And yeah, myself and Lem, you can also both find us on Twitch at, I believe, the names that have been listed on the run here. And just incredible community. I've had nothing but good experiences with all of the people. Shout outs to the folks that originally routed this game, to the people that continue to hunt for tricks to this game, and the people like you and Argros that just continually push this game forward with hundreds of hours, or thousands at this point, of dedication to this craft. And it's just been an honor and a privilege to be a part of the first ever Multithon. Lem?
So you covered it all. You can follow me on Twitch at Limera. Thank you.
Indeed.
He does strat hunting, game design, all sorts of stuff, and is the big leader on ITT mod scene, which can potentially have custom maps in the future.
Yes.
In the future, though. Not yet.
In the future. In the future.
There are many things to come
But-
for this game.
But that's all from us. We appreciate it. Thank you for having us. And remember, support Blue Path, a great cause.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks. So thank you so much to our runners for It Takes Two 100%, Daemonweave and Argros. What a wonderful run to show off some beautiful collaboration across all sides. I do not think that I will ever be able to say that word normally again. That one stuck with me. So coming up next, folks, we do have something pretty special. We've got this Archipelago Multiworld with Overcooked 2, Rogue Legacy, and StarCraft 2, featuring Hop, Mav, and Toaster Party. This will be a 3-person multi-world run across Archipelago. And I think we may even have one of the devs for one of these games that's in here playing it. So that'll be really cool. Folks, exclamation point donate in chat. You can donate to Blue Path via Tiltify. See that number update live on stream. We are at $2,222.22 of the $3,000 stretch goal for the weekend marathon here. So remember, we can name a Parker, folks. We can name a Parker. Oh, and I think with a last minute $41 donation from Zokubun, I may have said, don't worry about the Archipelago donation, but oh, we have a lot of glorious chaos coming up. So at the 11th hour, the increased difficulty settings incentive for the Archipelago Multiworld gets met. That is crazy hype, and I'm so excited to see this run get overcooked. Hang tight for a moment, and we're going to get that going, ready to roll. right, folks, while we are waiting for our super hype Archipelago Multiworld with some extra steamed YAMLs coming up here, I'm going to run through some of our remaining incentives. We have just under 5 hours left to meet the Overcooked to a Pet the Dog, $10 per pet. That is currently at $135 of $500. And Kevin, that absolutely adorable dog from Overcooked 2, deserves all the pets that he can get. Also, at just under 6.5 hours left to complete, we have Lego The Hobbit Watch Cutscenes, currently sitting at $5.01 of $150. That one, we skip so many things in our speedruns. Who doesn't want to watch the beautiful Lego epic of The Hobbit? We've also got the Bid Wars for Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Harp Song sitting at $50, well ahead of the sci-fi version of that song. And the same game, Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Zeromus Sprite at $42.22 in the lead sci-fi, and fantasy trailing at $24.78. Now, Disneyland Adventures, Steve TV Sing-Along, has it's kind of been flipped on its head a little bit. I'll Make a Man Out of You from Mulan, which was previously at $24.22 in the lead, is now in second place. And Proud of Your Boy from Aladdin is now sitting at $41. So that one has come full up from nothing all the way to $41 being in the lead, showing that a single donation can make all of the difference in some of these incentives. Not to be forgotten in this one, in Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid at $12, trailing in third place. So folks, keep those donations coming. We are just under $2,300 raised for our $3,000 stretch goal for Blue Path. Keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming. Just a little bit of a refresher here. With this incentive being met for the Archipelago run, we are going to get to see some pretty gnarly stuff on the Rogue Legacy 2 side. At the very end, there will be a boss rush done by Hop Up with a character that has the Vertigo trait. So the entire game will be upside down, much like my expectations were turned when that donation incentive got met at the last moment, which is so incredibly hype. Get ready, folks. It's going to be wild. While we are waiting, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the future things coming up immediately after this upcoming Archipelago multi-world run. We have Overcooked to solo, but co-op, not randomized, being run by Ruby Heart, Peace Egg, and Sunbro Jade. Some of the strats for multiple players in these Overcooked runs get absolutely bonkers. So seeing some 3-people strats there will be really cool. Coming up after them will be Octopath Traveler, single story Ophelia, run by Talbrick. And then after that, we'll have Lego the Hobbit, restricted any % co-op with Zojalix and Dr. Pie. After them, we will have Payday 2, City of Gold, any % RNG mod by I Eat Zombies, Luna Yuki, Waif, and Yoshino. Then we will have Final Fantasy IV, Free Enterprise, Sumomo Randomizer Race between Cubs Rule, John Burkhead, Tall Grant, and Elven Sorrow. And after that, we will have Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Subspace Emissary any % co-op with Tech Strobe Imprisoned Shadow. And then we will have, closing out the evening, Banjo-Kazooie All Cheeto Visits by Ad129. Folks, we have an absolute banger schedule coming up for the rest of this day, and I know I can't wait to see what they've all got in store for us. I would like to take this opportunity to speak a little bit more about Blue Path here. Blue Path Service Dogs goes to Air, these autism service dogs, offering safety, companionship, and opportunities for independence. Many children with autism exhibit bolting tendencies, which can make trips outside the home a frightening proposition. An autism service dog works alongside parents or caregivers to help keep a child safe. The dog is connected to the child via a specifically designed tether system, and the dog is trained to anchor in response to a child bolting. This immediate, emotionless reaction helps keep the child safe and often helps to reduce or eliminate the bolting behavior entirely.